the man Mr. Bush is depending on to carry out his new war strategy. Talk about Iraq and the backlash against the troop buildup with Senator Joe Biden of Delaware. Plus, House Democratic leaders beat their own clock and toot their own horn. They're about to cross off the last item on their early to-do list. But what did they really accomplish? We'll see if there's substance behind the self-congratulations. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. First this hour, a vivid reminder that the new Democratic leaders in the Congress have plenty of bones to pick with the Bush administration. It happened on Capitol Hill today, just a few hours ago, when the Attorney General of the United States, Alberto Gonzales, appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee. That's when the questions and the fur started flying. Let's turn to our justice correspondent, Kelly Arena. Kelly?
Wolf, this was the first time that the Attorney General appeared before the Judiciary Committee since the Democrats took over control of Congress. And I can tell you, it was hardly a friendly reception. Democrats pounced on several of the administration's anti-terror policies, including domestic wiretaps and the detention of terrorist suspects in Guantanamo Bay. But the most heated exchange came when Judiciary Chairman Senator Patrick Leahy brought up a man named Maher Arar. Now, he's a dual Canadian and Syrian citizen, and he was deported from the U.S. to Syria, where he says he was tortured. Arar was allegedly on a watch list for suspected terrorist ties. He's since been cleared by the Canadian government. Listen to this, Wolf.
We knew damn well if he went to Canada, he wouldn't be tortured. He'd be held, he'd be investigated. We also knew damn well if he went to Syria, he'd be tortured. And it's beneath the dignity of this country, a country that has always been a beacon of human rights, to send somebody to another country to be tortured.
Before you get more upset, perhaps you should wait to receive the briefing.
How long?
I'm hoping that we can get to the information next week.
And Gonzales and other U.S. officials have said that they got assurances from Syria that Arar would not be tortured. Leahy promised Gonzales that if he didn't get the information that he wanted within the week that he promised, that he would hold a hearing on the issue, Wolf.
He's been cleared by the Canadian government, but is there still suspicion in the Justice Department and the U.S. government that this individual may have had some links to terrorism?
Yeah, actually, Senator Leahy today said that he is still on a U.S. watch list, and he wanted to know why from the Attorney General, but the Attorney General refused to give any details about that case, at least in a public forum, Wolf.
Maybe that's what he's talking about next week. They'll have a private briefing. All right, thanks very much. An extraordinary moment on Capitol Hill today. Now there are some serious tensions developing over Iraq. Get this, pitting the prime minister in Baghdad against the president of the United States, two supposed allies. Today, the Bush White House is on the defensive over comments, harsh comments, by Nouri al-Maliki. Al-Maliki told international journalists the situation in Iraq would not be as bad if the U.S. had done a better job of getting Iraqi security forces more and better weapons. Let's go to our White House correspondent, Ed Henry, for more. Ed?
Wolf, one of those surreal days at the White House. You have the White House spokesman, Tony Snow, insisting it's still all sweetness and light between President Bush and Prime Minister Maliki, even though the facts on the ground in this case, the Prime Minister's own words in black and white suggest otherwise. As you noted, Maliki telling international journalists that if only the U.S. had done a better job of getting more weapons as well as equipment to the Iraqis, there would have been less deaths of U.S. soldiers as well as Iraqi civilians. Maliki also expressing real frustration with comments that U.S. officials have made in recent days, blasting the Iraqi government's handling of the hanging of Saddam Hussein, including Mr. Bush himself, who had said the mishandling showed that the Iraqi government needs more maturation. Maliki said, quote, "I understand and realize that inside the American administration there is some kind of a crisis situation, especially after the results of the last election." Maliki then really seemed to go off the talking points by declaring that some of these comments from U.S. officials have played into the hands of insurgents, saying, quote, "I believe such statements give a morale boost to the terrorists and push them toward making an extra effort, making them believe they have defeated the American administration, but I can tell you they haven't defeated the Iraqi government." Aiding terrorists, of course, that's a charge the White House has previously hurled at Democrats. Now they're getting hit with it from the man who's supposed to be their man in Baghdad. White House spokesman Tony Snow brushed it all off, pointing instead to upbeat comments that Maliki also said the Prime Minister vowed to find a political solution in Iraq, and also touted the fact that he started cracking down on militias, that he's got 400 militiamen in detention right now. Take a listen to Snow.
The facts on the ground really are going to be the key determinants, and what's happening here is that you're trying to create a war of words that we're just, I'm afraid.
Comments. We're not creating a war of words.
But I also, what I'm telling you is that you have comments to reporters, and you also have actions on the ground, and those are actions that we support, and those that demonstrate real seriousness on the part of the Maliki government.
So what's really going on here, what senior people say off camera, is that in large part this is Maliki venting for a domestic political audience back in Iraq, showing that he's not the president's boy, trying to show he's his own man, just as President Bush, because of internal political pressure here in the United States from the Congress and others, has been pointing the finger at Maliki, saying he needs to step up. That's the same thing that Maliki's trying to do, but there's no denying the fact that as the president tries to implement this new strategy, he's putting a lot of faith in Maliki, a man who top White House officials still admit privately is an enigma at this point, Wolf.
And Maliki himself saying to the Wall Street Journal only a few weeks ago, this is a job he never wanted, doesn't want, and apparently can't wait to give up. But he's the guy who's responsible right now. Thanks very much, Ed Henry at the White House. Let's get some reaction now from Baghdad to al-Maliki's latest jabs at the Bush administration. CNN's Arwa Damon is in the Iraqi capital. Arwa?
Wolf, we've heard this tough talk from Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki in the past. In fact, as recently as the end of October, where he made a very similar statement to another news agency. Again, they're saying that Iraqi security forces could take control in 6 months if they had the training and the weapons to do so. But there is a certain reality that exists on the ground that makes some U.S. commanders here that have worked alongside those forces very skeptical about that fact. The Iraqis still remain very reliant on their American counterparts, not just for the American military firepower, but also for command and control at times, even when it comes down to the most basic of operations. In fact, a large number of Iraqi soldiers that we spoke to said that they preferred to have the Americans by their side, saying that even though a large number of them did have prior military experience, the type of battle that exists in Iraq, especially in the capital, is very different than any sort of war Iraq has fought in the past. So for a lot of Iraqis, this tough talk from the Prime Minister is ringing very hollow, and they say that until that tough talk turns into action, nothing will change. Wolf?
All right, Arwa, thank you. Arwa's in Baghdad. Let's go to New York right now. Jack Cafferty has the Cafferty File. Hi, Jack.
More good news, Wolf. The United States could soon be sending more troops to Afghanistan. Secretary of Defense Robert Gates, who's in the region, says commanders on the ground are recommending a troop increase there, and he's inclined to urge President Bush to go ahead with it. He didn't talk about how many troops. One official says it wouldn't be anything close to the additional 21,500 soldiers that are being sent into Iraq. Gates says, quote, there's no reason to sit back and let the Taliban regroup, unquote. Of course, if the United States has kept its focus on toppling the Taliban and going after Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda in Afghanistan instead of invading Iraq, there probably wouldn't be any need for any more soldiers there now. But instead, both those groups, al-Qaeda and the Taliban, making a serious comeback. Attacks and bombings up sharply in Afghanistan last year, not to mention the record opium crop that is helping to finance the Taliban. Meanwhile, an editorial in USA Today suggests that Afghanistan, like Iraq, cannot be won through the use of military force alone. Ask the Russians. They spent 7 years fighting a war there before they packed up their toys and went home. The editorial says that a solution will require skillful diplomacy and the winning of hearts and minds. So here's the question. Should the United States send more troops to Afghanistan? Email us at CaffertyFile@CNN.com. Go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile.
That's what Hillary Clinton recommended yesterday upon her return from Iraq and Afghanistan. We're going to have more on that, Jack, coming up. Thank you. And coming up, also fighting the president over Iraq. Top Republicans in Congress, at least several of them, are now going to new lengths to show they're against a troop buildup. We're going to tell you what CNN has learned. And Senator Joe Biden is a leading and vocal critic of a troop increase in Iraq. I'll ask the likely presidential contender if Democrats can ever agree on how hard to push back against the president. White House hopefuls are stepping up their battles over the buildup. And is that forcing Senator Hillary Clinton to protect her left flank? Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
My dad's great, but I just wish he could be around more. He's always having to go back to the office for something. Even my birthday last week. Right in the middle of the party, he had to go back to the office. Or the time we were playing catch in the backyard. It was a real Field of Dreams kind of moment. So last night, Mom and I decided to take matters into our own hands. In less than 2 minutes, we signed out for a free trial of Go to My PC. With Go to My PC, Dad can access his office PC right here from home. He can use all his programs, work on his files, check email. Anything he can do in his office PC, he can do from anywhere. But since today's Saturday, and he's got a bunch of chores lined up for me.
Hey, Kevin, why don't you come help me wash the car?
I figured I'd wait for tomorrow to show him. You can try Go to My PC free too. Visit gotomypc.com/TV.
I lost my job and my health insurance. The first thought was, how am I going to get my medication I need? I was in a lot of trouble.
If you're uninsured and struggling, America's pharmaceutical companies want to help. Call 1-888-4PPA now to see if you may qualify.
PPA saves me $1,300 a month.
We've been to nearly 1,000 cities in all 50 states, helping more than 3 million people in need.
Without my wife and PPA, I don't know if I could have been here today.
The Partnership for Prescription Assistance, on the road to helping you.
It's time to play Take on Orbits. This week's winner is you. That's right, you.
Save $300 on select 7-night vacations to Mexico, the Caribbean, and Hawaii during the winter getaway sale. Just Orbits and go.
Always use protection.
Forget fine lines. It's deep wrinkles that make us look older. Neutrogena Anti-Wrinkle Intensive Serum delivers 4 times the retinol to help fill in the look of even the deepest wrinkles. Don't let deep wrinkles tell your age. Anti-Wrinkle Intensive Serum. Neutrogena.
Tonight on 360, he's a frequent flyer and driver. He's also 9 years old. The kid who boosted a car, got through airport security, hopped one flight, then another. It's enough to keep a mom up at nights. We'll talk to her. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Closed captioning provided by Head On. Head On applied directly to the forehead.
Head On applied directly to
Head On apply directly to the forehead. Head On apply. Head On. I hate your commercial, but I love your product.
Head On is available without a prescription.
Welcome back on Capitol Hill. Right now, there are new developments in the GOP revolt against the president's plan for a troop buildup in Iraq. Let's turn to our congressional correspondent, Dana Bash. She's working her sources. Dana, what are you picking up?
Well, Wolf, many Republicans here are, of course, still highly skeptical of the president's plan to send more troops to Iraq. By CNN's count, 8 outright oppose the president, and CNN has learned some of those Republicans are now actively looking for ways to show him.
A group of senators in the president's own party are so opposed to his strategy in Iraq, they're trying to come up with their own resolution, making that clear with a Senate vote.
I think it's important that our constituents know where we stand on the president's plan.
Republican Susan Collins and several other GOP senators who disagree with the president say a resolution offered Wednesday by Republican Chuck Hagel and Democratic leaders is too broad, and terms like escalate make it too controversial.
Bottom line is I'm not signing on to the Hagel piece. We're looking at some other alternatives.
The fact that Minnesota's Norm Coleman and other Republicans who had supported the president on the war are searching for ways to show they now disagree with him is the latest sign of Mr. Bush's increasing isolation, especially since the White House has been meeting with GOP lawmakers trying to stop a revolt.
I think the president is hearing our concerns, but unfortunately, he's not heeding our concerns.
With prodding by Bush officials, GOP leaders who still back the president may propose resolutions of support. They're hoping to get help from Democrat-turned-independent Joe Lieberman.
As you know, I support the president's proposals because I believe we have so much on the line in Iraq. I think those who oppose the president's ideas have an obligation, responsibility to propose an alternative course that offers the hope of success.
Meanwhile, Democrats eyeing the White House continue to appeal to the powerful anti-war left wing of the party, saying symbolic resolutions are not enough. Joining Hillary Clinton and Chris Dodd, Barack Obama now wants Congress to stop the president by capping troop levels in Iraq.
The strategy, the tactics, and the mission itself have been flawed. And that's why Congress now has the duty to prevent even more mistakes and bring this war to a responsible end.
And the first forum for the Iraq debate will play out next Wednesday, the day after the State of the Union, in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Their opponents of the president's plan are going to try to pass a bipartisan, non-binding, symbolic resolution that they hope to take to the Senate floor within the next couple of weeks. Wolf.
The same week as the president's State of the Union address, probably not a coincidence. Thanks very much, Dana, for that. Another new poll shows most Americans oppose the idea of sending more troops to Iraq. A new Bloomberg Los Angeles Times survey shows 60% of Americans are against a troop buildup, 36% support it. Our CNN Opinion Research Corporation poll taken last week showed 66% of the public opposing the buildup. Up next, the final tick-tock of the first 100 hours. Are the new Democratic leaders in the House of Representatives making good on their promises? And will it matter much? And President Bush under fire from many sides, including his supposed allies. J.C. Watson, Paul Begala, they're standing by to consider the president's vulnerable position in our strategy session. We'll be right back. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. They took office 30 years ago. Now, in an exclusive joint interview, former President Jimmy Carter and former Vice President Walter Mondale are back together, discussing the hot-button issues of Iraq, Iran, and President Carter's controversial new book. A special Situation Room tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.
The Situation Room is brought to you by Head On. Head On, applied directly to the forehead. Head On is available without prescription at your nearest pharmacy.
Head On, apply direct.
Head On, apply directly to your forehead. Head On, apply. Head On. I can't stand your commercial, but your product is amazing.
Head On is available without a prescription. New from the makers of Head On, introducing Activon. Joint and muscle pain, Activon. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon Joint and Muscle, in stores now. New from the makers of Head On, introducing Activon. Arthritis pain, Activon. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon Arthritis, in stores now.
Fantastic.
Quality. Wow. Thanks to the latest Bose technology, it is now possible to have for the first time the same noise reduction benefits in on-ear headphones as we achieved in the award-winning Quiet Comfort 2 around-ear headphones. And now you can choose your preferred style, QC2 or the new QC3 headphones. Wear them when you fly to experience less noise at the flick of a switch. And create your own private sanctuary. Originally designed for planes, owners tell us about other uses, less distraction at work, to unwind after a hectic day, or to find your own space. Sound quality is fantastic.
Peace.
Order QC2s or the new smaller QC3 headphones. Try them risk-free for 30 days. Order by January 31st for a free MP3 player. And you can make 12 easy payments. Quiet Comfort headphones. Hear the difference Bose technology makes.
Young Muslims living in democracies using free speech to spread hate. Christian Amanpour uncovers The War Within. Saturday and Sunday night, 8 Eastern.
Does back pain limit your motion?
Get relief with Icy Hot Pro Therapy. Powered by Hot Packs. Up to 8 hours of muscle-relaxing, pain-relieving heat that goes where you go. Icy Hot Pro Therapy.
Strong support plus powerful relief.
Introducing softness that looks and feels healthier. Introducing Gold Bond Ultimate Softening Lotion. It hydrates skin cells with essential moisture. New Gold Bond Ultimate Softening for softer, smoother, healthier skin every day from head to toe.
Millions of teens have found a whole new way to get high on drugs that are all over the neighborhood. Legal drugs they can get anytime they want, for free, in almost any home in America. Cough medicines, prescription painkillers. Last year, more teens intentionally abused them than ecstasy, meth, and heroin combined. Learn how to talk to your kids about the drugs they get at home at drugfree.org.
Former American Idol winners pick the new American Idol. Larry King tonight.
Welcome back. This hour, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is hoping to portray the House under her leadership as a do-something Congress. Right now, House members are moving toward a vote on an energy bill that would slap the oil industry with more fees and taxes. It's the last agenda item in the Democrats' first big push for their legislative priorities in the House. Was the first 100 hours, as the Democrats are calling it, a success, or was it merely a stunt? Let's check in with our congressional correspondent, Andrea Koppel. Andrea?
Wolf, it was definitely a success, although it certainly wasn't a surprise. Speaker Pelosi carefully selected the top 7 legislative issues that she put on the fast track. She blocked Republicans from offering amendments, refused to allow them to discuss these issues in committee. But just because these bills sailed through the House doesn't mean it'll be smooth sailing through the Senate.
The bill is passed day after day, issue after issue.
The yeas are 253.
House Democrats made good on core campaign promises, in some cases with dozens of Republicans on board. But over in the Senate, it's a different story.
The good ethics train was moving swiftly right down the tracks until the Republicans stopped it, putting the line item veto log in its path.
Senate Democrats accuse Republicans of trying to derail the Senate's first piece of legislation, a bill to tighten congressional ethics rules and reduce the influence of lobbyists. That's because Republicans refuse to support it unless it includes a vote on an unrelated issue, giving President Bush the equivalent of a line item veto.
We're not here to thwart good pieces of legislation like the lobby bill, but we will insist on having our votes.
That doesn't bode well for other legislation, which the House has already overwhelmingly approved during the last 2 weeks, like a bill to require the federal government to negotiate lower prices for prescription drugs for seniors. Iowa Republican Charles Grassley has threatened a filibuster.
Having the government negotiate drug prices for Medicare might be a good soundbite, but it's not sound policy.
While another bill to boost the minimum wage for the first time in a decade will likely include a tax cut for small businesses, something House Democrats had strongly opposed. But because Democrats hold a slim 1-seat majority in the Senate, a senior Democrat there says the cuts are needed to secure Republican support.
First of all, it helps small business, but under the Senate rules, it's almost necessary in order to get minimum wage passed, because we need 60 votes in the Senate to get minimum wage, and I don't think there's 60 senators who will vote for minimum wage only.
Now, Wolf, CNN has just learned, according to one of our colleagues, congressional producer Ted Barrett, that leadership aides in both parties in the Senate are telling us they are now close to a deal on the ethics bill. What they would do is take off that so-called line item veto amendment, allow the ethics bill to go to an up or down vote, and then attach it to the minimum wage bill, which is supposed to come to the Senate next week, Wolf.
Well, we also know that all of these 6 legislative priorities from the Democrats on the House side, they may have sailed through the House, but they still have major hurdles, as we heard in your report, in the Senate. And then the president has to sign it into law. He can veto some of this if he doesn't like it. So there's still a long way to go.
There is, Wolf, and certainly on the one that we just saw on the screen there about expanding federal funding for stem cell research, that is one we know that President Bush, if it goes through the Senate, is sure to veto. Remember, that was the one veto that he exercised last year, the only one of his presidency.
Andrea Koppel, keeping him honest up on the Hill up there. Thanks very much for that, Andrea. And as you saw earlier, not only Andrea, but Dana Bash, they are part of the best political team on television. And remember, for the latest political news at any time, check out our political ticker at cnn.com/ticker. Up next, Democrats against the troop buildup and sparring with one another over what to do specifically about it. I'll ask Senator and likely presidential candidate Joe Biden about the divisions, the buildup, and the race to 2008. That's coming up. And you saw it in the Situation Room a short while ago. Fireworks between the Senate Judiciary Committee chairman and the Attorney General of the United States. What do Paul Begala and J.C. Watts make of this extraordinary exchange? You'll find out in our strategy session. We'll be right back.
When sinus pressure from a cold or allergies start to build, all you want is relief. Relief from sinus pressure, from feeling so stuffed up, so congested. you might just blow. That's why there's Sudafed PE. The medicine in Sudafed PE is clinically shown to relieve nasal congestion in minutes. Sudafed PE. Get your head back where it belongs. And for longer-lasting relief, ask your pharmacist for Sudafed 12-hour or 24-hour. They're behind the counter.
Are you a homeowner with a first mortgage, second mortgage, auto loans, student loans, or credit card debt? Or would you like to consolidate your debts into one low monthly payment? Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED, a GMAC company.
It all began with a big dream in a small town. Sam Walton's dream.
Treat the customers like they're your family.
You treat customers with respect.
Go above and beyond. A smile and a hello doesn't cost anything.
It's been said that when Walmart comes to town, it's like getting a nice pay raise.
Because our low prices save the average working family $2,300 a year.
Which buys a lot of things and a whole bunch of freedom. But Sam Walton's vision and our commitment today is much bigger than that. Last year alone, Walmart created thousands of new American jobs, many in areas where they're needed most. And every associate can qualify for health insurance for less than $1 a day.
Well, one thing that Sam believed in was that you should give back to the communities.
And this year, once again, neighborhood Walmart stores will be one of the largest corporate contributors to local charities in America.
Savings to customers.
Commitment to the community.
Opportunities for associates. Those are the values that guide us.
Sam's dream. Your neighborhood Walmart.
All right, international shipping. So you need to bring your products from China to the U.S. And you like the reliability of those big brown trucks. The problem is, trucks don't float. But what if that big brown truck were a big brown plane? UPS has one of the world's largest airlines. There. Now we'll get over here in a hurry. Early in the morning if you want. It's not international shipping. It's international shipping with UPS.
Don't miss the most celebrated performance of the year. Forrest Whitaker is excellent, sensational, charismatic, majestic, absolutely spellbinding in one of the great performances of modern movie history. The Last King of Scotland, rated R, starts everywhere tomorrow.
Larry King tonight. Former American Idol winners together. Taylor Hicks and Fantasia Barrino. Who do they think the new American Idol will be? Larry King Live, tonight 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
To our viewers, you're in the Situation Room where new pictures and information are arriving all the time. Happening now, our two allies at odds. There are words and responses between Iraq's prime minister and the Bush administration. This after Nouri al-Maliki suggests things the U.S. could do to make Iraq better off. I'll talk about Iraq with Democratic Senator and likely presidential candidate Joe Biden. Also, neither is officially a presidential candidate, but is one Democratic presidential prospect feeling the heat for her Iraq war stance from others in her own party who might also be running for president. Our Mary Snow standing by with a report. And nightmarish thoughts that are among a parent's worst fears. The parents of the 15-year-old Missouri kidnapping victim who was held captive over 4 years speaking out. We're going to tell you their chilling thoughts regarding what they think happened to their son. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. I want to talk a little bit more now about one of our top stories. Would Iraqi troops be better off by now if they were better armed and better equipped by the United States? That's precisely what the Prime Minister of Iraq, Nouri al-Maliki, is suggesting. So that certainly has the White House on the defensive right now, just as President Bush is sending more American troops to Iraq, a plan that my next guest opposes. Joe Biden is the Democratic senator and a likely presidential candidate. He's also the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for coming in.
Happy to be with you, Wolf.
Let's talk about this Nouri al-Maliki statement. Very harsh, blaming in effect the United States for the lack of progress in dealing with the security situation in his own country. This after almost 4 years of U.S. involvement in blood and treasure. What do you make of this?
What I make of it is he strongly opposes the president's plan to escalate the war in his own country in Baghdad. Yet we were told by the Secretary of State coming up testifying before us in my committee just last week, which you covered, Wolf, saying that no, the Maliki government's there and the Iraqi forces are going to be there to help us do this, when in fact it's clear that there is overwhelming opposition to the president's plan by the very people we're going to rely on as we send our soldiers door to door in a city of 6 million people, more than 6 million people, in the midst of a civil war.
I think what it shows is he wants a free hand to do what he wants to do.
Exactly right.
And he doesn't want the burden of having to deal nicely, if you will, with a lot of Sunnis in Iraq.
That's exactly right.
He's a Shiite leader. He wants equipment, he wants money from the United States, but he doesn't want to be dictated by the United States.
Exactly right, but think what that says, Wolf. It reinforces the point that this is a sectarian war. And it reinforces the point that it is folly for the president to send 17,500 Americans into a city of over 6 million people on the promise that he's going to get support from Iraqi forces. Our military guys and the secretary acknowledges that if the Iraqis do not help in this mission and, quote, as she said, lead the mission, then there's no possibility of succeeding. So what are we going to do? Send these young men and women into a meat grinder here? What we should be doing is the opposite. We should be letting Maliki know that he's not going to get our help if he doesn't straighten out and have a political solution here. And that's why the Iraqi Study Group, why Joe Biden, why Les Gelb, why everyone across the board, including the president's own generals, have said, Mr. President, we should be telling him we're going to be ramping down, not ramping up, because he cannot count on us to, in fact, be the fodder for his civil war. He has to make some political compromises.
Last week you said something very direct. You said that the only way the president is going to budge and change his position is if enough Republicans, members of his own party, stand up and express their strong opinion. Well, a lot of Republicans are doing exactly that, but he's not budging. Did you miscalculate in that thinking?
No, I think we just started. I know that the Republican leadership is surprised that the Biden-Hagel resolution was able to get two leading Republicans to sign onto it, and along with Senator Levin, who drafted it with us, number one. Number two, I think they're going to be surprised when we voted out of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And evidence of the fact that they are worried about it, the word right now is, and I don't know this for a fact, is the Republican leadership is talking about filibustering the ability to vote on
That's what the Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell told me on Sunday. This is an important statement, and you need 60 votes. Will you have 60 votes to break that filibuster?
The answer is I don't know whether we'll have 60 votes to break it, but think of what the statement says, Wolf. A sitting president with the opposition of almost every major military leader, leaders in his own party, two former Republican secretaries of state, former secretaries of defense, all of them telling them, Mr. President, don't do what you're about to do. And then on top of that, you come along and you have a bipartisan resolution saying, don't do it, Mr. President, and they've got a filibuster to stop it?
What's wrong with Russ Feingold's recommendation? You simply use the power of the purse, which the Constitution gives the legislative branch of the U.S. government, to stop funding this war.
Nothing wrong with it. The question is, can that be done quickly? And the answer is probably not. We have a constitutional right to do that. I've drafted a resolution, which I'll be introducing later, a law that says, look, you have no authority to go to war in Iran, Mr. President, like you seem to be intimating you do, nor into Syria. In addition to that, we have the power to, and I'm working on a resolution that will say the authorization for use of force that we gave you 3.5 years ago is no longer valid. There's a new authorization to use, and here are the limitations on your use. There are constitutional ways to do this.
What about Hillary Clinton, Chris Dodd, Barack Obama? They want a cap on how many troops could be serving in Iraq. You think that's a good idea?
In principle, it's a good idea, but in practice, it may be difficult. Let me explain what I mean by that, Wolf. If you talk to the Pentagon, you talk to people who know how the military works, we have thousands of troops outside of Iraq over the horizon in case our troops get in trouble. What happens if there's a real problem? Does that limit the president being able to surge troops in to rescue American troops, number one? Number two, the way this works, Wolf, is that there is always a movement in terms of when we ramped up troops. That is, you extend troops who are there while new troops are coming in. There's almost always an overlap. Then the number comes down. It gets pretty dicey figuring out how to micromanage that. I think the easier way to do this will be politically harder, is to reauthorize and with significant limitation on what authority the president has in Iraq, period. In other words, a new authorization for the use of force.
I'm going to let you go.
That's down the road.
I'm going to let you go with one final political question. Are you going to be at our presidential debate in New Hampshire in early April? CNN and WMUR-TV, the New Hampshire Union leader, we're co-sponsoring a Democratic and a Republican debate among presidential prospects. Do you plan on attending?
That's my intention. I don't know what's going to be going on in the Senate that day, and the only thing to keep me away would be something like a debate on Iraq in the midst of a debate up there. But it's my intention to participate in as many of these debates as I can, Wolf, and I think particularly one sponsored by, two major institutions would be a very, very good thing to do.
Three. CNN, the New Hampshire Union leader, and WMUR-TV in Manchester.
No,
you're going to make the formal announcement when?
Well, I'm going to set up a committee, hopefully, by the end of this month. We're just doing the mechanics of it. And but in terms of the sort of fly around where you have large crowds and announcing all that, I probably won't do that till a little bit later. But I will be making it clear I am running and setting up a Biden for President committee, not exploratory, flat Biden for President, and trying to raise the funds to be able to compete, which I think I can do.
Senator, thanks very much for coming into the Situation Room.
Thank you, Wolf.
Joe Biden joining us. And coming up, our strategy session. House Democrats are on the cusp of wrapping up their 100-hour agenda, but their colleagues in the Senate are in no rush to follow the House's lead. So what, if anything, did they actually accomplish? Plus, much more on the give and take between Republicans and the president's plan to send more U.S. forces into Iraq. But will any of it have any bearing on the president's policy? Paul Begala and J.C. Watts standing by live in our strategy session right after this.
Let me tell you about a very important phone call I made. When I got my Medicare card, I realized I needed an AARP Medicare Supplement insurance card too.
One simple call gave me the chance to talk with a personal health insurance advisor
Who answered all my questions about Medicare Supplement plans, so I could understand it all. After I called, I was able to choose the plan that was right for me.
If you're already on or eligible for Medicare, call now to find out how an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, helps you pay some of the 20% of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare Part B. That can save you from paying thousands of dollars out of your own pocket. These are the only Medicare Supplement Insurance plans exclusively endorsed by AARP, a name you trust. When you call now, we'll send you this free information kit with all you need to enroll, so you can join the millions of people who've already trusted us for their Medicare Supplement insurance. Plus, we'll send you this free guide to understanding Medicare.
The prices are competitive. I can keep my own doctor and choose my own hospital.
and I don't need a referral to see a specialist.
Call now to get the free information kit. Plus, we'll include this free Medicare guide. And the advantages don't end there. You can choose from a wide range of plans that are all competitively priced, so you can find a plan that best fits your needs and budget. There are virtually no claim forms to fill out. And best of all, they're the only Medicare supplement plans endorsed by AARP.
When they told me these plans were endorsed by AARP,
I had only one thing to say. Sign me up.
Call now, 1-800-495-9137, and let us help you choose the right plan. So call now, 1-800-495-9137, and find out about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan. A personal health insurance advisor is waiting for your call.
I hate political correctness. I love the truth. Too often, political correctness is all about controlling language and hiding the truth. We have to tell it like it is. It's what we all deserve.
Lou Dobbs tonight, CNN 6 Eastern.
It's time for answers.
Young Muslims living in democracies using free speech to spread hate.
One day, you will conquer the White House!
Christian Amanpour uncovers The War Within. CNN Special Investigations Unit, Saturday and Sunday night, 8 Eastern.
Welcome back to today's strategy session. The Bush administration reverses itself regarding domestic surveillance program. And today, a Democratic senator blasts the Attorney General of the United States. Is the White House losing its focus? Joining us now are two CNN political analysts. Paul Begala is a Democratic strategist. J.C. Watts is a former Republican congressman from Oklahoma. Guys, thanks very much for coming in. Patrick Leahy, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, minced no words in hammering Alberto Gonzales, the Attorney General, today. Listen to this little clip.
In the 32 years since I first came to the Senate, and that was during the era of Watergate and Vietnam, I've never seen a time when our Constitution and fundamental rights as Americans were more threatened, unfortunately, by our own government.
JC, this comes the day after the administration reversed itself and said, after all, you know what? The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, should be in charge of these warrantless wiretaps.
Well, well, there we go again. I don't understand that. I mean, why do that? If, you know, you've spent all the political capital
for 2 years.
For 2 years just defending your principles, which I think they were right, by the way. And the reason I think they were right, if you've got Chuck Roast making calls to Osama bin Laden from the United States of America, why shouldn't we know about that? I mean, I think that's a legitimate claim. And so now we're saying, no, we don't believe that FISA will be attacked.
They say they will still want to know about those phone calls, but they have to go to this FISA court first to get permission to eavesdrop.
Well, I think even if that's the claim, why not do that at the outset?
That's what Democrats were arguing, a lot of them, at least from day one.
That's what the Democrats are arguing, but Wolf, I think they had that authority minus, you know, this FISA court that was set up. I think they had that authority from the outset.
What do you think?
The bad guy is the bad guy.
Well, the bad guy used to be King George III. And the guys who started this country decided that we weren't going to act like King George III, the tyrannical dictator of the British Empire that we broke away from. And so we set up a constitution, we the people, and it has a Fourth Amendment in it. And it protects American citizens from the government spying on us without a warrant. And the government has to wiretap every phone call of every known or suspected terrorist. They better do that. That's their job. That's what we're paying them to do. But they have to go to a court. Now, this is a stunning reversal, and it's an important one. But it is only because the Democrats won the election. President Bush, Vice President Cheney, the rest of that team understand one thing, and that is power. And they exercised unchecked power and trampled the Constitution. And thank God for Pat Leahy, who's a very mild-mannered guy. He's a Grateful Dead fan. He is not a hot-tempered guy in the U.S. Senate. But he lost his temper today because he loves the Constitution
Dick
so
Cheney
much.
once lost his temper in an exchange with Patrick Leahy,
In fact, with Pat Leahy, he dropped that old F-bomb right on him on the Senate
as you might remember.
It just means they bring out the worst in each other.
Let's talk about the first 100 hours, legislative hours of the Democratic agenda in the House. You used to serve in the House. I think a lot of people are saying may not go anywhere in the Senate. The president might not sign it all into law, but it's pretty impressive the way Nancy Pelosi got these 6 initiatives through, in 40 hours or so of official business.
Well, and I don't know what was so impressive about that, Wolf. I think it was smart. It was good politics on the part of the Democrats. I thought it was a good strategy. Again, as I've said on this show before, I thought they made a huge mistake by not allowing the Republicans to have a say, take these things to committee, let them be fleshed out. They didn't do that. I think they hurt themselves by not doing that and saying we were going to be different. But I think it was good politics. You know, 3 weeks from now, nobody will remember how it was processed through the House. They'll remember that those things were passed. Now they got to get it done in the Senate.
What do you think?
Well, I think Nancy Pelosi has done an astonishing thing. You know, when Newt Gingrich came in, the period between when in 1994, and I was working for President Clinton, he had a contract with America, but the period from the time he'd won the election to the time they passed the contract, which had many very good things in it, a lot of important reforms actually, he made himself a desperately unpopular figure in America. Now, I helped people like me who were attacking him, but he was a very polarizing figure. He was a very grandiose figure. He seemed to be very sort of hostile and aggressive. Nancy Pelosi is passing her agenda, and she's showing America that she's somebody who's willing to shake up the establishment in Washington. She's very high in the polls, where Newt was already dropping, and she's passing real things that affect people's lives. I mean, 5.6 million people are going to get a pay raise if the Republicans in the Senate and the President will sign a minimum wage increase. You know, millions of seniors will pay less for their
President
prescription
says
drugs.
he'll sign it, but he wants other things added in the Senate, the final version that comes to him, as you well know.
That's right. Those 5.6 million people that will get a payroll, we've got senators saying, let's give those small businesses a way to pay for that. Stem cell research, there's an argument there. You can get just as much good out of adult stem cell as you can stem cell, you know, with
amniotic
That's a good point. The hard one,
stem cells.
The hard one for Mr. Bush, though,
that discussion will be had fully in the Senate.
The hard one will be the one the House passed today, the hard one for President Bush.
The energy.
It takes corporations like ExxonMobil and other oil companies and it kicks them off the welfare rolls. You know, 10 years ago, and JC was an important part of this, the Republican Congress passed welfare reform to kick human beings off of the dole who'd been on there too long.
But why
Exxon and the other oil companies have greater revenues than the whole kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and yet they get tax subsidies for the American people. It's unconscionable that Rex Tillerson, the CEO of Exxon, they're welfare queens.
See, I think that's disingenuous. Why target just the energy business?
Because
I can show you a whole bunch of welfare queens in the corporate industry.
Let's go. Next time, because we're out of time right now. Guys, thanks very much.
Of queens.
Paul Begala and J.C. Watts. They are part of the best political team on television. Up next, Senator Clinton wants to cap the number of troops in Iraq. Has the potential 2008 presidential candidate gotten the message from the left on the war in Iraq? Mary Snow has a special report. All that coming up.
If pain is keeping you from sleeping at night, but you're afraid to take prescription sleep aids, you should know Tylenol PM is different. And when used as directed, it has not been shown to cause dependency.
Here's a radically simple suggestion from eLoan. Spend too much money spreading the holiday cheer? Consolidate your debt with a home equity loan and pay one low monthly rate. Just call 1-800-TRY-eLoan or go to eLoan.com. eLoan. Radically simple.
This April, CNN is live in New Hampshire for the first presidential debates of the race to 08. Stay with the best political team on television. Stay with You'll be glad you bought in Gladstone at J. Lee's Gladstone Honda. Now's the time to check out J. Lee's selection of new 2007 Hondas, like the amazing newly redesigned 2007 CR-V LX four-wheel drive. This automatic transmission sport SUV is J. Lee priced at just $21,895. Or check out the terrific selection of Accord LX four-doors with automatic transmission for only $19,460. Now that's savings. Come into J. Lee's Gladstone Honda today, where you'll be glad you bought in Gladstone.
In the battle against dry, rough, cracked feet, are you losing? Fight back with Gold Bond Foot Cream. Its penetrating formula helps heal dry feet like ordinary lotions can't. For victory over rough, cracked skin, Gold Bond Foot Cream. Victory over defeat.
Cold sores are gonna clear up. Put on a happy face.
Want them gone fast? Get Herpes L. Unlike other treatments, it helps heal lips fast, soothes skin, and protects lips. Herpes L.
Just put on a happy face.
When work hurts, you need relief that fits the pain.
The Icy Hot Sleeve, joint hugging relief that starts icy to dull the pain, then gets hot to relax it away. The Icy Hot Sleeve.
Hard working relief that fits the pain.
When winter skin hits, I itch. When it's way beyond dry,
I itch.
Unlike ordinary lotions, Gold Bond moisturizes and medicates to soothe and relieve dry, itchy skin. Gold Bond Medicated Lotion, the moisturizing fix that medicates the itch.
As a Fisher Investments client, you'll always have the opportunity to understand where your investments are, what they're doing, and more importantly, the reasons why. The way we see it, the more you know, the more you'll rest assured, and the quicker you can get back to what matters most, your life. Fisher Investments. Invest assured. For a free copy of the 8 biggest mistakes investors make, call 1-888-48-FISHER or visit fisheroffer.com.
Winona Judd and Gary Sinise at the Fisher Houses for Wounded Troops. Larry King tomorrow.
Carol Costello standing by in New York with a closer look at some other important stories making news. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Wolf. Hello to all of you. A new Pentagon manual details rules for handling the trials for terror detainees. The rules would allow convictions based on hearsay evidence, even coerced testimony. They would also allow the death penalty. But the soon-to-be-released manual would not allow statements obtained by torture. Also, the price of oil has dropped below $50 a barrel for the first time since May of 2005. This after a large increase in crude oil inventories. In the meantime, Fed Chair Ben Bernanke is warning of economic damage from budget strains. Today, Bernanke told a congressional committee that if it doesn't act on Social Security and Medicare reform, the U.S. economy could be, quote, seriously weakened. And why would a water bottle be modified to contain a secret compartment? And why would it smell like marijuana? Well, today, that's what Miami police want to know. It's a situation involving Michael Vick of the Atlanta Falcons. Yesterday, a police report says he reluctantly threw away a 20-ounce bottle at an airport checkpoint before boarding his plane. When suspicious officials examined the bottle, they say it had a secret compartment and it smelled like marijuana. Police are now testing it. Vic has not publicly commented, and no charges have been filed. So the mystery continues, Wolf.
All right, Carol, thank you for that. And this sad note, a farewell today to Pulitzer Prize-winning humorist and columnist Art Buchwald, who prided himself in making fun of power players right here in the nation's capital. Art died last night at his home here in Washington, D.C. He was expected to die of kidney failure many months ago. Instead, he cheated death and spent his final days trading quips and embraces with old friends and family. Art began poking fun at Washington back in 1962 after chronicling nightlife in post-war Paris. Senator Ted Kennedy is remembering Art Buchwald as the, quote, Mark Twain of our time. Art Buchwald was 81 years old. He was a good friend, a very, very good journalist, a decent guy, and our deepest condolences to his family. On our political radar this Thursday, new snapshots of the titanic clashes that may be ahead in the race for the White House. A new poll for the Hotline shows both Senator John McCain and former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani would beat the two likely Democratic presidential frontrunners, namely Senators Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. The survey actually shows Obama trailing McCain and Giuliani by a slightly smaller margin than Clinton. A bright spot for one Democrat in the survey, it shows former Senator John Edwards a point ahead of Giuliani in a hypothetical 2008 matchup. But Edwards trails McCain by 10 points in that poll. An unlikely show of support for Barack Obama's possible presidential bid. A gun rights advocate in Obama's home state of Illinois reportedly is talking about forming a group, Sportsmen for Obama. The Chicago Tribune quotes a former state representative who served with Obama as saying the Democratic presidential prospect, quote, would never do anything to hurt hunters. And remember, for the latest political news at any time, check out our political ticker at CNN.com/ticker. In the early race for the White House, some anti-war groups who haven't been happy with Senator Hillary Clinton's stand on Iraq now are accusing her of sparking a bidding war for their support. Let's turn to CNN's Mary Snow. She's in New York with the latest. Mary?
Well, Wolf, anti-war activists are reading Senator Clinton's latest war stance as a response to political pressure from the left and Democrats unhappy with her support of the Iraq war. And they are welcoming more pressure from 2008 hopefuls. One day after Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton called for a cap on U.S. troop numbers in Iraq, the man who may be her main rival for the Democrats' presidential nomination also spoke out against an escalation of troops.
I want to emphasize that I am not unique in taking this approach. I know that Senator Dobbs has crafted similar legislation. Senator Clinton, I believe, yesterday indicated she shared similar views.
We should be beginning a phased redeployment of U.S. troops.
Senator Clinton's comments also brought some support from an unlikely source.
Gas would suspend for the
Code Pink, the vocal anti-war group, is toning down some of its criticism of Senator Clinton, whom it has called a hawk on the war, but it's not giving her the credit.
The peace movement is delighted that Barack Obama got into the race and that it is pushing Hillary Clinton, but I think John Edwards is doing that even more.
I voted for this war, and I was wrong.
But unlike former U.S. Senator John Edwards, Senator Clinton has not apologized for her vote. And as for Senator Obama, he wasn't even in the Senate at the time. Will the past matter much in 2008?
I don't think there are that many voters in the Democratic primary who are going to be wringing their hands over who said what when several years ago about Iraq, but who's going to move us forward on Iraq.
Some anti-war groups say there will be payoff for the Democrat who stands up to President Bush's plan.
I think the reward is the support of millions of Americans around the country. You know, this is the top issue for Democratic voters.
Some Democratic strategists say the debate over Iraq has shifted to tactics on how to get out of Iraq rather than the fundamental principles of whether the U.S. should be there. Wolf?
Thank you very much, Mary Snow reporting. Up next, the Cafferty File. Should the U.S. send more troops to Afghanistan? Jack, with your email when we come back.
If you want all the nutrition of a bowl of instant oatmeal to go, you want Quaker oatmeal to go.
AARP is an organization for people who have birthdays. That's because what we do for all. Join us in championing your future and the future of every generation.
I was turning 50, and so were my eyes.
Nancy came into Pearl Vision for her annual checkup.
Now my eyes see perfectly.
They're Nancy's eyes, but they're my responsibility.
Right now at Pearl Vision, buy one pair of eyeglasses and get a free pair valued up to $200.
Hi, I'm John Scher, CEO and founder of Video Professor. I'm the guy that gives away the free computer learning lessons. Well, today I'm here to tell you about a great new lesson that many of you have been asking for. And here it is, how to buy and sell on eBay, and I'll give it to you free. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I'll make you the next millionaire selling an attic full of baseball cards, but I can guarantee you that I'll teach you everything you need to know about eBay. And again, I'll send you this lesson free. Now, I can do this because I know that once you try my lesson on eBay, you'll be so satisfied that the next time you need to learn anything about computers, you'll come back to Video Professor for all your computer learning needs. And with over 40 lessons on all of today's most popular computer programs, I know there is more you want to learn. And don't forget, call now and I'll send you eBay or any other lesson of your choice free. And I guarantee your satisfaction, or I'll send you $10. So what do you got to lose? Try my product.
Call 1-800-434-5196.
What does it mean when we say no one can do what Countrywide can? It means if other lenders can't get it done, we can. It means we can offer home loans to get cash fast, to pay off credit cards or remodel a kitchen. It means as your life changes, our loans can change with you, to lower your payments or to help pay for college. It means with more good loans for more good reasons. No bank, no lender, no one can do what Countrywide can. Call us 1-800-CAN-DO-88.
Dish Network subscribers, stand up and object. Court TV has been dropped. Dish Network subscribers, don't stand for this injustice. Get Court TV by calling 1-800-710-1922.
Closed captioning hours provided by Nature's Tears Eye Mist Dry Relief.
Nature's Tears Eye Mist, the natural way to soothe and moisturize tired, strained, dry eyes. Nature's Tears Eye Mist. Now, doesn't that feel better?
Check back with Jack Cafferty for the Cafferty File. Jack?
Wolf, the question this hour is, should the U.S. send more troops to Afghanistan? The new Secretary of Defense, Gates, thinks that we need some more soldiers there. Art in Fort Collins, Colorado, writes, absolutely. The U.S. needs to redeploy troops out of Iraq and try to correct the mistake of removing them from Afghanistan in the first place. Doing so at this time is crucial if the U.S. is to achieve any success in suppressing al-Qaeda and the Taliban, who are making a remarkable resurgence in the region. Jim in Cleveland, I seem to remember President Bush vowing to hunt the terrorists down wherever they're hiding. So shouldn't we be going cave to cave in Afghanistan and Pakistan right now, instead of riding around the streets of Baghdad waiting to be blown up by sectarian insurgents? Peter, Forked River, New Jersey, yes, the U.S. ought to send more troops to Afghanistan. They should send the 20,000 troops President Bush has committed to Iraq. Send them to Afghanistan. They should also redeploy most of the troops in Iraq. Send them to Afghanistan, where they should have been all along, so we can get bin Laden. Steve writes, until the do-nothing politicians get out of the way and allow the military to actually prosecute a war, sending troops anywhere is a waste of time. Remember the famous shock and awe campaign? Turned out everyone's shocked at how much it cost and awed that we're still spending time and money there. We need a give 'em hell Harry Truman in the White House again, one who isn't afraid to take down entire cities to end the violence and bring the fanatics to their knees. And Dee writes from Columbia, Missouri, Jack, if President Bush sends more troops to Afghanistan, where's he going to get the troops for the war he wants in Iran? Never ends. Wolf.
Jack, thank you. And to our viewers, you're in the Situation Room where new pictures and information are arriving all the time. Standing by CNN reporters across the United States and around the world to bring you today's top stories happening now. The new Iraq war strategy can't work without him, but Iraq's prime minister now seems to be engaged in a harsh war of words with the White House over the war. China blasts one of its own satellites out of orbit. Could American satellites be next? Why this country's eyes and ears in space may suddenly be very vulnerable. And as a heavy metal mystery tied to terrorism, investigators are searching for a man who spilled a vial of mercury inside a Los Angeles subway station and then disappeared. This is video you will see only here on CNN. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. Is certainly crucial to the president's plan for Iraq says he's not getting the arms and the equipment he needs from the United States to do his part of the job. And he says that's costing both Iraqi and American lives. Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has taken a lot of heat from the Bush administration, and now he's firing right back, and that's threatening to turn into a full-scale war of words with the White House. Let's go straight to the White House. Our correspondent Suzanne Malveaux has more. Suzanne?
Wolf, it really is an incredible interview to actually watch. Nouri al-Maliki, first and foremost, saying that, look, if he gets the weapons and the kind of equipment he needs, that he does have very little use for U.S. forces from 3 to 6 months down the line. He also laughs off a question whether or not President Bush needs him more than he needs President Bush. Now, while the White House denies it's a war of words, this is certainly not the kind of language President Bush wants to hear.
It was his first interview since President Bush laid out his new strategy to bring calm to Iraq, and it was biting. Iraq's Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, the man Mr. Bush is counting on to take the lead in turning things around, turned the tables, blaming the Bush administration for failing to secure the country. He said, "I believe that our armed forces and arms could be in much better position than it is now, and that if that had happened, it would have spared us and people with other foreign forces a lot of losses." President Bush brushed off Maliki's criticism, focusing instead on his new pledge to Maliki to send more American troops to help secure Baghdad.
We may not be providing as quickly as he wants, but nevertheless it's a good sign when the Prime Minister says, just give us the capabilities. And that's precisely what my new strategy and new plan is attempting to do.
But his strategy also requires Maliki to step up his military and political responsibilities. And administration officials have been warning him America's patience is wearing thin. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice said the Iraqi government was on borrowed time. Maliki borrowed a familiar phrase from the Bush administration, suggesting the criticism would only embolden the terrorists. Said, "I believe such statements give a morale boost to the terrorists and push them toward making an extra effort, making them believe they have defeated the American administration. But I can tell you they haven't defeated the Iraqi government." White House aides downplayed Maliki's comments, characterizing it as a sign of his independence, meant to show strength to the Iraqi people.
And of course, Wolf, aides privately saying they believe this kind of tough talk from Maliki is really for domestic consumption for the Iraqi people themselves, and they're trying to focus again on what they say are Maliki's recent actions, that they are heartened by his actions. The 2 brigades that the Iraqis have sent to Baghdad, the militia that have been detained, as well as the progress that has been made for an oil deal to share oil among the Iraqi people. Wolf?
Just want to point out that interview with the president came from our affiliate group, BELO. Thanks to them for a good job as usual. Thanks to Suzanne. She's always doing a good job for us. Suzanne Malveaux at the White House. The American aid worker killed in yesterday's convoy ambush in Baghdad has now been identified. According to the National Democratic Institute, a group here in Washington, she was Andrea Faramovich, who last lived in New York before moving to Baghdad to help that group promote democracy in Iraq. 3 security people, a Hungarian, a Croat, and an Iraqi, were also killed in the ambush. In those heady days after the toppling of Saddam Hussein, did the United States miss a monumental opportunity to head off tensions with Iran? There's word that the Bush administration actually snubbed an Iranian offer of some concessions. Let's turn to CNN's Brian Todd. He's been working this story. Brian?
Wolf, today, National Intelligence Director John Negroponte said Iran has been emboldened in the last couple of years to take a more offensive posture in the Middle East. But back in 2003, before Iraq deteriorated, before Mahmoud Ahmadinejad came to power in Iran, we're told there was a chance for a valuable partnership in the region.
2 former U.S. officials and a current Iranian official tell CNN of a brief opportunity between the United States and Iran that could have prevented sectarian violence in Iraq or possibly curbed Iran's nuclear ambitions. They say it came in the spring of 2003, shortly after Saddam Hussein was driven from power. The officials tell CNN of a written offer to begin talks from Iran's top leaders, who feared they might be next.
This included, at the bottom level, the tactical level, terrorist exchanges.
It also included middle-level issues such as operational issues such as the stability situation in Iraq, and also strategic-level issues such as their own potential nuclear program.
Colonel Larry Wilkerson, then Chief of Staff to Secretary of State Colin Powell, says the document came across his desk. CNN obtained a copy from Trita Parsi, a former advisor to a U.S. congressman who also received it. The unsigned letter does not promise that Iran would work to stabilize Iraq, disarm Hezbollah, or curb its nuclear program in exchange for security guarantees, but lays those issues out as talking points.
If the United States at the time had chosen to explore these discussions and the negotiations would have been successful, then most likely Iraq would not be in the mess that it is today.
Larry Wilkerson says top State Department officials wanted to engage the Iranians, but when the overture reached the White House,
it died in the Vice President's office with the same mantra that he normally used to kill such things: we don't talk to evil.
An aide to Dick Cheney said his office could not confirm the incident, but reiterated Cheney's recent comments that the UN has backed up the American position that Iran should not pursue nuclear weapons. A spokeswoman for Colin Powell says the former secretary believes that at the time, neither he nor other top members of the administration viewed this letter as a great bargain. And a State Department spokesman has said even if Iran presented a conciliatory face at the time, the regime would have continued supporting terrorists and pursuing weapons of mass destruction. Wolf?
Brian, thank you. Brian Todd reporting China has now knocked one of its own satellites out of orbit with a satellite-killing missile. That test last week has some very ominous implications. The United States and some key allies are not happy about what is going on. Let's go live to our senior Pentagon correspondent, Jamie McIntyre. Jamie?
Well, Wolf, China's growing military capabilities now includes the ability to shoot down a satellite in space, and that has enormous implications if the U.S. were to ever go to war with China.
Low Earth orbit satellites have become indispensable for the U.S. military for communications, for GPS navigation to guide smart bombs and troops, and for real-time surveillance. But they are also extremely vulnerable, as a just-revealed test of a satellite-killing weapon by China ominously demonstrates.
If we, for instance, got into a conflict over Taiwan, one of the first things they'd probably do would be to shoot down all of our low Earth orbit spy satellites, putting out our eyes.
According to U.S. government officials, after 3 misses, China last Thursday succeeded in shooting down one of its own aging weather satellites with a medium-range ballistic missile fired from the ground. U.S. sensors tracked the satellite as it disappeared from its polar orbit 537 miles above the Earth and was reduced to hundreds of pieces of space debris after impact with a kill vehicle carried by the missile. The U.S. has lodged a formal diplomatic protest.
Was this a provocative move by China? What's the White House?
Don't know that, but we are concerned about it, and we've made it known.
Under a new space policy authorized by President Bush last August, the U.S. asserts a right to freedom of action in space and vows to deny, if necessary, adversaries the use of space capabilities hostile to U.S. national interests.
The Chinese have essentially fired a shot across the bow of the United States, making it clear they feel no constraints against the development of space weapons. Wolf?
Thank you very much, Jamie. At the Pentagon, let's go to New York and Jack Cafferty once again for the Cafferty File. Jack?
Wolf, on Tuesday, 2 car bombs went off at a Baghdad university, killing 70 people, many of them students. This ill-conceived war is taking a tremendous toll on Iraq's higher education system. Consider this. Students are leaving the universities by the thousands. Enrollment fell by more than half at some colleges in Iraq in just the last year alone. Professors are continually targeted for assassination and intimidation. Since the U.S. invasion, 280 academics have been killed. 3,200 more have fled the country. Also, since the start of the war, as many as 40% of Iraq's professionals have fled the country. And all this is happening in a country that used to have one of the top higher educational systems in all of the Middle East. It's very sad. Education officials in Iraq say they're determined to carry on, but it doesn't sound too hopeful. The legacy of the U.S. invasion of Iraq is likely to include an entire generation of unemployed, uneducated young people with no future and no hope. The perfect recruiting tool for terrorists and jihadists. Doesn't anybody think about any of this stuff before they go to war? The question is this: what does the next generation of Iraqis have to look forward to? Email us at CaffertyFile@CNN.com or go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile. It's pretty bleak over there, Wolf.
Very bleak indeed. A lot of displaced people as well, a lot of refugees. We're going to have more on that coming up. Thank you very much, Jack Cafferty. Up ahead, he wants to bring back the military draft, but what does he want to do about the president's plan to send more troops to Iraq? I'll ask Congressman Charlie Rangel of New York, he's standing by live, to join us. Also, a mercury spill on a subway platform. Was it an accident or was it a test run for a terror attack? We're going to show you what happened. Video you will see only here on CNN. Plus, terror's surprising new breeding ground, turning young Muslims from innocents to extremists. CNN's Christiana Mampour has our exclusive report. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
Hello, I'm a Mac. And I'm a PC.
Are you going in for a checkup?
Well, I'm upgrading to Vista today, which is great, but I get a little nervous when they mess around with my insides.
Well, what do you mean? Isn't it just straightforward?
Not really. Like a lot of PCs, I have to update my graphics card, my memory. If I want the premium package, I need a faster processors. It's major surgery.
I'm sorry about that.
Listen, Mac, if I don't come back, I want you to have my peripherals.
Oh, come on. PC, you're not good. Speaking of peripherals...
You need to get 5,000 brochures to the trade show, 200 personalized letters mailed, and update the training manuals. From printing and mailing to document services, turn to PIP to turn down the stress. PIP, easing the pain of business.
Don't miss the most celebrated performance of the year. Forrest Whitaker is excellent, sensational, charismatic, majestic, absolutely spellbinding in one of the great performances of modern movie history. The Last King of Scotland, rated R, starts everywhere tomorrow.
Tonight on 360, he's a frequent flyer and driver. He's also 9 years old. The kid who boosted a car, got through airport security, hopped one flight, then another. It's enough to keep a mom up at nights. We'll talk to her. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Tuesday, CNN Pipeline is free. You're in control with up to 4 live feeds all day. From the Academy Award nominations in the morning through the State of the Union in primetime. Tuesday, go to CNN.com and try Pipeline free. Sponsored by Cisco.
Let me show you how it works.
Here's how it works. Get the nation's slimmest smartphone for only $99.99. The Cube. With easy access to email and Windows Mobile. It's the stylish way to work. From Verizon Wireless, America's most reliable wireless broadband network. Verizon Wireless, it's the network.
Phone. Okay, time to get organized.
We're gonna need a hand.
Let Office Depot help with everything from binders, file cabinets, and other organizational solutions to the latest tax preparation products and shredders. Office Depot comes in pretty handy. Click, call, or come by. Office Depot! Office Depot, taking care of business.
An investigation is now underway into a very bizarre incident in a Los Angeles subway station where a man spilled a vial of mercury on a platform. Was it an accident or was there something more sinister going on? Let's turn to CNN's Deborah Farrick. She's joining us now live with details. This is video you've got, Deb. It's an amazing story. Video we're only going to see here on CNN.
Well, Wolf, when we first asked the FBI in Los Angeles about the incident, we were told that it was not terror-related and that, in fact, they didn't think it was anything at all. But then, when we kept asking and then showed the tape to other terror experts with decades of experience, they had a very, very different take. What do these pictures mean, especially in a post-9/11 world when what appears ordinary may be the key to a future terror attack? This surveillance video, obtained exclusively by CNN, shows the Pershing Square subway station in Los Angeles late Friday before Christmas. A man in a brown jacket crouches on the platform and spills a silvery liquid from a small bottle. An accident? Maybe. Except the liquid turns out to be mercury, about 5 fluid ounces.
Doesn't make sense. The only thing that does make sense is to find them and interrogate them.
The fact it doesn't make sense, is that what bothers you the most?
Yes, because he's got a heavy metal and he's taking it into a subway. There's no good reason to do that. None.
Ken Robinson, a terrorism expert who worked intelligence in the Pentagon, has analyzed hundreds of al-Qaeda tapes for CNN.
When you look at this incident, do you think, in your mind, that this is a dry run for a terror attack?
I for sure think that it should be treated as if it is.
Mercury, found in thermometers, is dangerous when swallowed, but spilling it would have no immediate toxic effect. That's one reason the LA County Sheriff's Department, in charge of the investigation, believes the spill was likely an accident. Also, the man who spilled it placed a call moments after from a call box alerting authorities.
At this point, we are relatively confident it is not a credible threat.
But a 2005 joint FBI and Department of Homeland Security intelligence bulletin warns terrorists may make calls to test police reactions. In the case of the spilled mercury, according to the hazmat cleanup report read to CNN, law enforcement did not respond for a full 8 hours. Pat DeMuro, now a CNN analyst, was a top FBI counterterrorism agent. He says it's premature to rule out terror.
I'm not saying that in this video these individuals are terrorists, but there's some very strange activity that needs to be identified here.
The sheriff, who oversees the investigation, sent out an alert to be on the lookout for a man described as white or Middle Eastern, wanted in connection with a possible act of terror. 4 weeks later, the FBI in Los Angeles sent out its own bulletin saying the man is still wanted for questioning in connection with unexplained activity. Now, a number of people in law enforcement that we spoke with said that this information and this tape should have been much more widely distributed and shared among various law enforcement agencies. We are now told that the Sheriff's Department is planning on releasing the video to the general media.
All right, thanks very much, Deb Farrick, doing some strong reporting for us. Appreciate it very much. And still to come, extremists using free speech rights to create the next generation of terrorists. We're going to go to London. CNN's Christiana Manpour has some very disturbing details. Also, why a group of ministers is not fighting plans for President Bush's library. And Charlie Rangel, the congressman from New York, he's standing by live. We'll talk about his proposals to bring back the military draft, what he wants to see happen in Iraq, and a lot more. Charlie Rangel, when we come back right here in The Situation. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. They took office 30 years ago. Now, in an exclusive joint interview, former President Jimmy Carter and former Vice President Walter Mondale are back together, discussing the hot-button issues of Iraq, Iran, and President Carter's controversial new book. A special Situation Room tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.
It feels like I get this same cold every year. So I got the same nighttime medicine I always get, but I was still congested. So it wasn't the same.
Many cold medicines have changed. NyQuil no longer has a decongestant. New Tylenol Cold does. It helps relieve more of your worst cold symptoms, and it helps you sleep. It's one more step towards a pain-free world. Stop. Think. Tylenol Cold.
This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever you go, nationwide, your coverage travels with you. And that's just one of the many reasons you need the card you can trust. Because with AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans, you can apply year-round, talk with personal health insurance advisors, and so much more. If you're turning 65 or older, or you've already enrolled in a Medicare supplement plan, call for this free information kit and Medicare guide. These are the only Medicare supplement insurance plans exclusively endorsed by AARP. These plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, help cover some of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare alone. This could save you thousands of dollars. Want your choice of doctors or hospitals, virtually no claim forms, and no referrals needed to see a specialist? Call for your free kit. Yep, this is one great card.
Exclusive primetime jailhouse interview. A romantic walk on a beach ends in murder. Nancy Grace, Headline Prime, tomorrow 8 Eastern.
This month, stay in and tune in to watch what's on Comcast. Everyone needs more space. DIY Network can help you find it with the space you already have. Watch Wasted Space, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on the DIY Network, Comcast Channel 204. Do more with your time and money. Watch I Want That. What you get for your money and American Shopper. Saturdays and Sundays till noon on Fine Living. Comcast Channel 184. All the shows you watch are on Comcast.
Now available on demand, The Devil Wears Prada.
All right, everyone, gird your loins.
I don't see my breakfast here. There's a reservation. Pick up my coffee.
She hates me, Nigel. So there's a way that you can help me.
A little Crisco and some fishing line, and we're in business.
In the world of fashion,
What do you think?
We better get out of here before my girlfriend sees me.
it takes more than just a pretty face to survive.
Wish me luck.
No, shan't.
The Devil Wears Prada.
Hit movies without the trip to the video store. On demand with Comcast Digital Cable.
CNN Special Investigations Unit series premiere, Saturday and Sunday night, 8 Eastern.
President Bush's plan for an Iraq troop buildup certainly faces lots of backlash on Capitol Hill. But is this a good time for Democrats to be calling for reinstating the military draft? Congressman Charlie Rangel of New York is the chairman of the powerful House Ways and Means Committee. He's also making lots of waves, as he always does. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for coming in.
Good to be back with you, Wolf.
The Republicans say they don't want it. The Democratic leadership says they don't want it. The military says they don't want it. But you're very stubborn. You're persisting in saying this is a good idea right now to reinstate the draft, introducing formal legislation to that effect. Make the case.
I make the case that you cannot be for the war and expect that you got to take 21,000 troops. People have already served 3 or 4 times in Iraq, and just rotate them, sending them back, putting them in harm's way, and not believe that other people's kids from more affluent communities should not make a sacrifice too. It seems to me that we should not have a concept that we fight these wars, support the wars with other people's kids. So if indeed it's believed by the people in the United States that our national security is threatened, there's no way in the world that we shouldn't say everybody should be involved in the sacrifice. The whole idea that volunteers are more patriotic than those that come from more affluent families just doesn't make any sense.
What do you say to those who oppose the war to begin with and say there's a professional army, all volunteers? They're more than enough to get legitimate jobs done.
Well, I don't know. Those who oppose the war, then they should be able to persuade the American people that the war really doesn't deserve having our people fighting over there. And so if there's going to be people that oppose it, then they should be opposed to the draft as well. But I'm saying that if it's a time of war, then they should be able to say everyone goes. And the whole idea that the recruiting, you never heard the president make an appeal to the American people to send their able-bodied men and women to join up to fight the war, but they send the recruiters to the areas of the highest unemployment with the highest bonuses up to $40,000. That's not right, it's not equitable, and it's un-American.
Let's talk about these first 100 hours that the House of Representatives is in session. You're about to pass the 6th and final issue on Nancy Pelosi, the new speaker's list of priorities. But some of the critics are saying, you know what, the key issue right now facing the American people is Iraq, and Iraq was thunderously silent among this initial to-do list.
I don't really think that Congress, and certainly not the House, should manage the war in Iraq. And so therefore, to put this and say in 100 hours, we got to find a solution, to me would not make any sense. We'll have a resolution disagreeing with the president. But more importantly than the Congress, I think the American people are so far ahead of us. And by the time we get finished with the hearings, the testimony, people under oath, really trying to find out what does a surge mean? What do you got to use? Where you got to get the 21,000 troops? What do you got to do with them? Is there going to be a military victory, a diplomatic victory? And are we just shooting crap saying that we don't know what we're doing because of the mistakes that were made? No, I think that it's going to take more than 100 hours. But things are changing dramatically. Republicans, as well as senators in the Senate, as well as in the House, are telling the president, we've had enough of the war. Let's realign our theories. And he should really not just go public. The president should come on the Hill and talk with us, because he's not only embarrassing himself, but he's embarrassing the country internationally.
Here's a tough political question for you, Charlie Rangel. You never dodge questions before. Who do you like better for president, Your Senator Hillary Clinton from New York State or Barack Obama, who's emerging as a formidable rival to her?
I think it's exciting that we got to have at least those two candidates and others proving who will be the best person. I told Obama, I said, Senator, if you don't get involved in this race and test your popularity, your intellect, and your ability to lead, you will regret it for the rest of your life. But I also shared with him that Hillary Clinton is our favorite daughter in the state of New York, and we would prefer to have a solid Democratic support for her if she decides to become the candidate. But I think both of them are exciting for the Democratic Party, the debate, the discussions, and no matter what happens, we'll be winners.
Sounds like you'd like a Clinton-Obama ticket.
Well, we'll see what happens, but, you know, it's a little too early to make those kind of decisions.
Never too early for us, though, in the media. Thanks. Charlie Rangel from New York State, thanks very much for coming in. He's now the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. We're going to talk about taxes the next time you come in, Congressman.
I look forward to it.
Thanks very much. And coming up, the delicate balance between free speech and terror concerns. We'll talk about it with our own Christiane Amanpour. She has a new CNN special investigation that you're going to want to see. Christiane from London. Coming up. Also, coming up at our 7 p.m. Eastern hour, how race could impact Senator Barack Obama as he decides whether to run for president. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
I have high blood pressure, but I was surprised to find out it might lead to erectile dysfunction.
You think you know everything about diabetes, but no one ever told me it could lead to ED.
So I talked to my doctor. He said that certain health conditions like high blood pressure
or diabetes may lead to ED,
and that Levitra can help.
Doctors know Levitra works for men with ED, even those with high blood pressure or diabetes. Levitra is only for men healthy enough for sexual activity. If you have heart problems or are on alpha blocker therapy, talk to your doctor before taking Levitra. Do not take Levitra if you take nitrates for chest pains, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, and stuffy or runny nose. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Levitra and call your doctor right away.
Talking to my doctor took a lot off my mind.
You should talk to your doctor about Levitra.
The more you know about ED, the more you'll want to know about Levitra.
I lost my job and my health insurance. The first thought was, how am I going to get my medication I need? I was in a lot of trouble.
If you're uninsured and struggling, America's pharmaceutical companies want to help. Call 1-888-4PPA now to see if you may qualify.
PPA saves me $1,300 a month.
We've been to nearly 1,000 cities in all 50 states, helping more than 3 million people in need.
Without my wife and PPA, I don't know if I could have been here today.
The Partnership for Prescription Assistance, on the road to helping you.
Weather, 1,000 images, one network.
The last couple of storms that have rolled through here have been incredibly dangerous.
The complete picture.
Temperature's going to be falling pretty dramatically.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
The Arctic ice is shrinking at a record pace. Electricity used by lighting is one of the biggest sources of CO2 emissions. Philips energy-efficient lighting uses less electricity to help prevent CO2 emissions right now. Simplicity is a light bulb that can help change the world.
Humor is very important to us. We both love to laugh. I find that I make her laugh even when I'm not trying to. So.
Find everything you're looking for on eharmony.com. It all starts with your personality profile. The $50 value free.
I was turning 50, and so were my eyes.
Nancy came into Pearl Vision for her annual checkup.
Now my eyes see perfectly.
They're Nancy's eyes, but they're my responsibility.
Right now at Pearl Vision, buy one pair of eyeglasses and get a free pair valued up to $200.
To our viewers, you're in the Situation Room, where new pictures and information are arriving all the time. Happening now. The Pentagon releasing details of new rules for trying terror detainees. Officials say it includes the presumption of innocence and the right of appeal, but it also allows controversial hearsay evidence and coerced testimony. Also, House Democrats on the verge of going 6 for 6. Lawmakers are nearing a vote on a bill that would recoup billions of dollars in fees, taxes, and royalties from the oil companies. It's the final item of the House Democrats' agenda for their first 100 legislative hours. And Consumer Reports now withdrawing a warning about infant car seats that left parents frightened and manufacturers outraged. The magazine had reported that most rear-facing seats failed disastrously in crash tests at 38 miles an hour. Turns out those tests represented crashes at 70 miles an hour, a huge difference. Consumer Reports says it will retest the car seats. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. Growing number of Republican rebels are breaking ranks with the president over the planned troop buildup in Iraq. But Senator John Kyle of Arizona is one Republican who remains firmly behind the president. Senator Kyle's joining us now from Capitol Hill. Is that true, what I just said? Senator, you stand firmly behind the president?
Yes, I do, Wolf. I think everybody said the president needed to announce a new strategy. He's done that. It seems to me we'd ought to give it a chance to work.
Senator Sam Brownback, not necessarily a flamethrower or a rebel, the Republican senator from Kansas, says something very different. Listen to this.
At the present time, the United States seems to care more about a peaceful Iraq than the Iraqis do. If that is the case, it is difficult to understand why more U.S. troops would make a difference.
What do you say to your friend and colleague from Kansas?
I would ask him to give the president's strategy a chance to succeed. I haven't, and with all due respect to Sam Brownback, who's a great friend of mine and a good man, none of the president's critics have proposed an alternative that would work. They have a lot of different ideas about how to leave in 6 months, to start now and phase it in, to leave within a year. A lot of different plans to leave. No other plan to win. And I would suggest that if they really believe that we can't win or that we've already lost, then we'd ought to be getting out today. The president doesn't believe that. He believes we can prevail. And what do we mean by win? He said it many times. Leaving Iraq a state that can defend itself, that's at peace, and that will help us in the war against the terrorists.
So much of the president's initiative, this new plan, depends on cooperation, full cooperation from the Iraqi government, led by its Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. But he's now in a war of words, if you will, with the president and the White House and the Secretary of State. He's insisting the Bush administration, the United States, after all it's done, is not doing enough to help the Iraqi military and is actually standing in the way of progress. Can you trust this guy?
Well, in the past, he has not been as helpful as we had thought he should be. Obviously, he's got some political problems that he has to deal with. We don't always pass the laws we should pass either for political considerations. But this time, he's come up with a plan and said he will back it up. For example, when the Iraqi soldiers in the past would pick up some of these killers and put them in jail, the politicians would intervene, and the next day they'd be out of jail. He says that's not going to happen anymore. When we put a curfew and a series of measures like blockades and checkpoints to gain control of Sadr City, we were actually gaining control. And then the politicians in Iraq said to us, would you eliminate those things? They're really causing us a lot of political problems. Our people don't like to wait 3 hours in line. Now what he's saying is he understands those are the kind of things that are absolutely necessary after we have won the territory to continue to hold it and to keep it held, and therefore he's willing to make that commitment. We'll see if it happens, but we'll be able to judge that as time goes on.
It won't take very long, but listen to this slap he gave to the Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice. He said this, he said, statements like Rice's give moral boosts for the terrorists and push them toward making an extra effort and making them believe they have defeated the American administration. He was referring to some criticism she leveled against some of the Iraqi policies.
Well, and I know there's been some of that back and forth, and usually they end up saying, well, I was quoted out of context and so on. And I think to some extent, remember, these are political people over there that have their own political problems. And I know he is frustrated that maybe we didn't send enough equipment there as quickly as he wanted it, but there are some good reasons why we didn't do that. You're going to have a back and forth. They are their own government. And they're going to be a partner here. They're engaged. That's the important point. Maliki is now really deeply engaged in this, and we're going to find out soon enough whether he's able to back up his new commitment with the kind of actions that we've wanted to see. So, again, I do think we need to give this plan a chance to succeed.
Senator Colley, as you know, for almost 2 years, the administration has been saying they need to do these warrantless wiretaps against suspected terrorists without going through the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court. But now They reversed course yesterday and said, yes, they're going to do it through FISA. Do you feel that they're pulling the rug out from guys like you who were so supportive of them for the past 2 years on this sensitive issue?
No, I don't. First of all, I don't think we know the full story here, Wolf, and we may not be able to talk about a lot of it on camera. Part of it depends upon whether there's been a new protocol worked out, and there's something to suggest that that's happened within the FISA procedures. And if that's so, perhaps it's something that satisfies the administration's requirements while still enabling it all to be done within the FISA process itself. So until I understand exactly what they have decided to do and on what basis, I'm not going to be critical of it, for sure.
Our CNN contributor, Bill Bennett, wants you to run for president and challenge the other senator from Arizona, John McCain. What say you?
Well, I'm not going to do that. Of course, it's flattering that Bill would be talking about this, but I can assure you that I will not be running for president of the United States. I just got reelected to a great job by my constituents in Arizona, and being in the Senate, working on these problems, talking to you, there's a lot to that. I enjoy that, and I'm going to continue to do that.
We enjoy talking to you too, Senator. Thanks very much, John Kyle of Arizona. Carol's following a developing story. Carol, what do you got?
Yeah, big fire in Escondido, California. Escondido between Los Angeles and San Diego. A huge fire, lots of smoke coming from the roof of a 4-complex condominium project. This is currently under construction, but take a look at the flames and the smoke. Firefighters are very concerned that the structure may just simply collapse. As far as we know, there have been no injuries reported so far, but as you can see, it's going to take a while for firefighters to put this down. Once again, this fire in Escondido, California. Back to you, Wolf.
That's a pretty amazing picture there. We'll follow it together with you. Carol, thank you. And still ahead, fighting crime with your camera phone. We're going to look at an ambitious goal for one city. Plus, we'll have details of a petition against plans for the George W. Bush Presidential Library. You might be surprised at who's behind it. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
It all began with a big dream in a small town. Sam Walton's dream.
Treat the customers like they're your family.
You treat customers with respect.
Go above and beyond. A smile and a hello doesn't cost anything.
It's been said that when Walmart comes to town, it's like getting a nice pay raise.
Because our low prices save the average working family $2,300 a year.
Which buys a lot of things and a whole bunch of freedom. But Sam Walton's vision and our commitment today is much bigger than that. Last year alone, Walmart created thousands of new American jobs, many in areas where they're needed most. And every associate can qualify for health insurance for less than $1 a day.
Well, one thing that Sam believed in was that you should give back to the communities.
And this year, once again, neighborhood Walmart stores will be one of the largest corporate contributors to local charities in America.
Savings to customers.
Commitment to the community.
Opportunities for associates. Those are the values that guide us.
Sam's dream. Your neighborhood Walmart.
Head on. Apply direct.
Head on. Apply directly to your forehead. Head on. Apply. Head on. I can't stand your commercial, but your product is amazing.
Head on is available without a prescription.
New from the makers of Head On. Introducing Activon. Joint and muscle pain? Activon. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon Joint and Muscle. In stores now. New from the makers of Head On. Introducing Activon. Arthritis pain? Activon. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon Arthritis. In stores now.
Tonight on 360, he's a frequent flyer and driver. He's also 9 years old. The kid who boosted a car, got through airport security, hopped one flight, then another. It's enough to keep a mom up at nights. We'll talk to her. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Young Muslims living in democracies using free speech to spread hate.
One day, you will conquer the White House!
Christian Amanpour uncovers The War Within. CNN Special Investigations Unit, Saturday and Sunday night, 8 Eastern.
Closed captioning provided by Head On. Head On, applied directly to the forehead.
Head on. Apply direct.
Head on. Apply directly to your forehead. Head on. Apply. Head on. I can't stand your commercial, but your product is amazing.
Head on is available without a prescription.
You own your own business, and today, you're expecting a package. The thing is, you're going to be at every address in town, except your own.
Don't you worry about a thing.
All you need is a mailbox at the UPS store. We'll sign for your packages, receive your mail, and keep it secure until you can pick it up. And your business gets a real street address. So when it comes to your mail, let the UPS store worry about it. That's our thing.
Don't you worry about a thing.
The UPS store, the place for mailbox services and a whole lot more.
The Bottom Line is sponsored by the UPS store, the place for mailbox services, and a whole lot more. Go to cnn.com/Situation Room for more small business news.
Let's check back with Carol for a closer look at some other stories making news. Carol?
Hi, Wolf. Hello to all of you. News impacting small businesses, including reports of serious problems in the Small Business Administration. The New York Times reporting budget problems have left the SBA's disaster operations in serious trouble. The Times says less than half of loans approved for businesses impacted by hurricanes have been paid out. And the paper says internal agency documents show the disaster loan program could shut down unless Congress intervenes. Both small and large businesses, and all of us as well, could be facing higher interest rates. Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke says that's just one possible consequence of the impending retirement of 78 million baby boomers. Bernanke is warning Congress the strain on Social Security and Medicare could seriously weaken the economy, resulting in growing deficits and debt, leading to higher interest rates. And California's crop disaster could soon leave thousands of people in the state's agriculture industry out of a job. A recent cold snap destroyed $1 billion worth of citrus and other crops. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is asking President Bush to declare a federal disaster, and he says the state will offer assistance to all affected workers, regardless of immigration status. A group of Methodist ministers moving to stop the proposed George W. Bush Presidential Library at Southern Methodist University. They've launched an online petition against the project, saying that linking this president's name to a Methodist university is, quote, utterly inappropriate. Some school faculty are also opposed, but one university official says he believes support for the library outweighs opposition. Columnist Art Buchwald has died. He surprised everyone, including himself, by living almost a year after he stopped dialysis. In fact, he had even checked into a hospice last February, but he lived on, even putting out another book last November. And we haven't heard the last of him. He left behind a final column to be published after his death. Art Buchwald was 81 years old. Back to you, Wolf.
He was a really great journalist, too, and a good friend. Thank you very much, Carol, for that. Our condolences to Art Buchwald's family. Can a camera phone help fight crime? That's what New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg is now hoping. In his annual State of the City address, Bloomberg says he wants New Yorkers to send in their digital pictures when they report crimes to 911 call centers. Our internet reporter Abby Tetton has this story. Abby?
Wolf, Mayor Bloomberg calls this revolutionary, providing 911 call centers with technology to receive New Yorkers' digital images from their cameras and camera phones in a case of an emergency. We've already seen how powerful these eyewitness images can be. CNN received multiple videos of this scene last fall when Yankees pitcher Corey Lidle's plane crashed into a Manhattan building. Now, police are hoping sending in images to their operators will become standard practice. More and more police departments are embracing new media. In December in Hamilton, Ontario, a man was arrested after police investigating a murder posted this surveillance video on YouTube. And back in New York City, police used online photos of this subway flasher to make an arrest. New York City officials say of their new program, they hope it won't be too costly because a lot of the technology is already in place. They hope to have it up and running in the next 2 years. Wolf.
Thank you, Abby, for that. Lou Dobbs is joining us from Miami to give us a preview of what's coming up. Looks like you're down in the sun and fun of Florida, Lou.
Absolutely, Wolf. Thank you. Here in Miami, Florida. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be reporting on the absolute refusal of the Bush White House and federal prosecutors to give consideration to 2 former U.S. Border Patrol agents sent to prison for shooting a Mexican drug smuggler, an illegal alien smuggler given immunity by the U.S. Justice Department. We'll have the latest, and the Bush administration and corporate elites are building a large new bureaucracy to create a North American Union comprised of the United States, Canada, and Mexico, all the while denying it and doing so without constitutional authority. We'll have that report. And corporate America has launched a new assault against working men and women struggling to survive the war on the middle class. Working Americans' access to affordable health care is at risk. We'll have that report. And among our guests here tonight, Senator Jay Rockefeller, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who wants to resurrect the Fairness Doctrine, and Governor Charlie Crist of the state of Florida. Please join us for all of that, all the day's news and more at 6 p.m. Eastern at the top of the hour. Back to you, Wolf.
Lou, what do you make of this Chinese move to destroy one of its own satellites out in space? I know you know a lot about this subject. A lot of people here in Washington are very worried about this.
Well, the fact is there is no treaty, there is no bilateral or multilateral treaty in which Communist China participates, and the adventurism of Communist China in all things military, but now military in space, is the basis for that concern. And this administration and the U.S. government are only now beginning to focus on the challenges being presented by China.
A lot of other satellites could be vulnerable in a scenario like that. Lou, we'll be watching your program from Miami coming up at the top of the hour. Thank you. And still to come here in the Situation Room, CNN's Christiane Amanpour joins us with a preview of her Special Investigations Unit report, The War Within. She'll show us some surprising new breeding grounds for terror. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
Here's how it works. Get the nation's slimmest smartphone for only $99.99. theCUBE. With easy access to email and Windows Mobile. It's the stylish way to work. From Verizon Wireless, America's most reliable wireless broadband network. Verizon Wireless, it's the network.
Too often political correctness is all about controlling language. We have to tell it like it is.
Lou Dobbs tonight. CNN coming up next.
It's time for
At Rasmussen BMW, it isn't about how many cars are sold. It's about customers and a buying and ownership experience that can't be found at any other luxury car store. That's the Rasmussen BMW difference. At Rasmussen, you'll find new and certified pre-owned BMWs and special BMW lease and finance rates like those available now on the 2007 525i. And you'll find Rasmussen people. Discover the Rasmussen BMW difference at Southwest Jefferson at 20th.
Cholesterol. My doctor said to watch it. So I ride my bike, eat the good stuff, and take garlic every day.
Garlic's clinically proven ingredient maintains healthy cholesterol naturally.
My doctor's happy. So am I.
Eat right, exercise, garlic.
Does back pain limit your motion? Get relief with Icy Hot Pro Therapy. Powered by Hot Packs. Up to 8 hours of muscle-relaxing, pain-relieving heat that goes where you go. Icy Hot Pro Therapy. Strong support plus powerful relief.
Think your pets are safe from fleas and ticks in winter? Think again. To protect against skin irritation and disease, they need flea, tick, and heartworm medication year-round. Plus supplements like Super Joint Enhancer for cold weather joint pain. Fortunately, they cost a lot less at 1-800-PET-MEDS. And they're delivered free right to your door with a 100% guarantee. I trust 1-800-PET-MEDS for fast service, free shipping, and big savings. Call now or order online.
We're the Puckheads.
The Puckheads!
We're hardcore and we will not miss a game. But the only way we can see our favorite team is to go city to city and catch all the action.
All the action! Thanks, Buck.
Yeah, we're not like those fair weather hockey fans who've got some kind of fancy schmancy NHL center ice package so they can watch all the action at home.
All the action!
At home?
NHL Center Ice. Order today for $119. Every game's a home game on digital cable.
I thought you said the van was home!
Don't wait an hour for morning news. 6 a.m. CNN American Morning tomorrow.
This weekend is the premiere of CNN's Special Investigations Unit, our new program. Our chief international correspondent, Christiane Amanpour, will look at the new breeding ground for extremism in England, where terrorism has already taken a stunning toll. Christiane has a preview now from London. Christiane?
Wolf, just like so many Britons and so many people around the world, we were shocked
when the suicide bombers blew up trains and buses back in the summer of 2005. And we wanted to see what was going on inside the Islamic community in England. It's a big community, 1.6 million, and a small minority of them are extremists, espouse the most shocking, the most radical beliefs and ideology, and we followed them, but we also followed some of the others. But first, we went to the extremists to hear what they had to say.
One day, you will conquer Rome! One day, you will conquer the White House!
Anjem Choudhury is the public face of Islamic extremism in Britain. His group, Al Muwajirun, disbanded before the British government could outlaw it under its new anti-terrorism rules. But that hasn't shut Choudhury up.
Whoever insults Islam or insults the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam deserves capital punishment.
That was Choudhury's inflammatory rhetoric just days after Pope Benedict's controversial speech about Islam.
Pope Benedict, you will pay! Pope Benedict, you will pay! The Mujahideen are on their way! The Mujahideen are on their way!
Outside Westminster Cathedral, British Catholics looked on in disbelief.
They could stand outside our church and abuse us, and abuse our religion and abuse people that we hold dear with absolute impunity.
So the simple question to the Christians is, do you condemn what the Pope said?
Well, I don't condemn.
Do you condemn the Pope?
What he said?
Yes or no? So you don't. Do you condemn the Pope?
If any of us was to amble up to, you know, the mosque at Regent's Park and sending in regards to Allah or Muhammad or what have you, best case scenario, taken away by the police for inciting racial hatred. Worst case scenario, attacked by a bunch of thugs wearing tea towels on their heads.
Democracy, hypocrisy! Democracy, hypocrisy!
Even away from the bully pulpit, Choudhury, who is a lawyer, not a cleric, continues to advocate extremist views, like calling for Sharia, Islamic law, for Britain.
All of the world belongs to Allah, and we will live according to the Sharia wherever we are. This is a fundamental belief of the Muslims. You know, if I was to go to the jungle tomorrow, I'm not going to live like the animals.
Basically, a lot of what you're saying is, it's my way or the highway. I mean, how does that kind of logic fit into a democratic state like the one we live in now and like the one you live in? You live here by choice. Do you not believe in democracy?
No, I don't at all. We believe that people must live according to the Sharia.
And a lot of these extremist views are being espoused in mosques around England. But the thing is, these people are now being challenged. They're being challenged by the majority of British Muslims who are the moderates in the mainstream. There's an interesting debate that you'll see later on in this program where this Anjem Choudhury goes and says some similar things to a group of Muslims who tell him, this is not an ideology, sir, this is a mental illness. And we did find and we sought out the other side of this story, the other voices, those who are fed up with the religion being hijacked by extremists and those who advocate violence and jihad and who want to bring it back to the sensible center. And it's incredibly hopeful and optimistic because individuals all over in all sorts of walks of life are now beginning to realize it's now or never on this very serious issue.
So this group, Christian, the man we just heard from and his followers, what you discovered represent what you're saying is a small percentage of the Muslims in Britain?
It is a small percentage. Nonetheless, as we've seen here, that part of that small percentage did create devastation and murder on the subway transit system a year ago. But it is a small percentage, but they are being radicalized. As you know, like in so many parts of the world, the Iraq war has added fuel to the radical fires. And in order to try to stop more impressionable, disaffected Muslim youth from going in that direction, the moderates who we found, the mainstream artists, preachers, all sorts of members of the community are beginning to stand up now to be counted and to try to stop this. And that's what we found important because that side of the story basically almost never gets told.
Christiane Amanpour doing some important reporting for us as she always does. Christiane, thanks. And you can see Christiane's full report, The War Within, this weekend, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the kickoff of our new series, CNN Special Investigations Unit. It airs Saturday and Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. You're going to want to see this. Up next, Jack Cafferty wants to know, what does the next generation of Iraqis have to look forward to? Jack, with your email when we come back.
What I love about her?
What I love about him.
How much time do we have?
I love Thomas because he's just
I love everything about Sharon. Everything.
everything. I love him as he is.
Find everything you're looking for on eharmony.com. Log on today.
Escape to a world of vibrant color, captivating design, and luxurious style with Stainmaster Carpet. Experience a whole new era in style and beauty for your home. Stainmaster Carpet. Always stylish, always beautiful. For a retailer near you, visit stainmaster.com.
John McCain has done more than just embrace George Bush's failed policy in Iraq. It's actually his idea to escalate the war there. It's John McCain's idea to send tens of thousands more soldiers to Iraq and to keep them there with no timeline for bringing them home. The McCain plan to escalate, going from bad to worse. With 3.2 million members, MoveOn.org political action is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
Shouldn't a savings account make your savings go up? With the ING Direct Orange Savings Account, we pay high interest all the time. There are no minimums, no fees, ever, and no strings attached. Your savings are free to grow a lot faster than they would in an average savings account. If you live life looking up, get the savings account that only goes up. Call 1-800-ING-DIRECT. Open an Orange Savings Account right now. Save your money.
6 players do not make a team. If they don't work together, they're just 6 individuals in matching uniforms. At Oppenheimer Funds, our investment professionals work hand in hand, sharing more than a common goal, sharing the skills that can lead to success. Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest.
Carefully consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Call your advisor for a prospectus with this and other fund information. Read it carefully before investing.
Worried about rising monthly payments in your adjustable mortgage? What if you had a mortgage with the option of a low monthly payment and a fixed rate for the life of your loan? Call 1-800-71-FIXED or log on to ditech.com, a GMAC company.
Larry King Tonight. Former American Idol winners together. Taylor Hicks and Fantasia Barrino. Who do they think the new American Idol will be? Larry King Live, tonight 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
Let's go back to Jack Cafferty in New York. He's got the Cafferty file. Jack?
Wolf, the war in Iraq is taking a tremendous toll on that country's higher education system. Students are leaving the universities by the thousands, professors targeted for assassinations, and professionals just fleeing the country. So the question we ask is, what does the next generation of Iraqis have to look forward to? Apparently not much, according to your email. Blair in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Doesn't anyone remember the crippling of a nation caused the rise of Adolf Hitler? I can only imagine a radical dictator like Hitler or Mussolini taking advantage of the readily available nuclear weapons of today's age. I think if we abandon Iraq's young people to a future as bleak as the Germans was after the Treaty of Versailles, that we'll be looking at another world war. Rosemary in Groton, Connecticut, they, like us, are looking forward to 2009 and life without mad cowboy disease. They may be able to look forward to the rebirth of diplomacy as the preferred method of solving problems instead of war and terrorism. Steve in Wisconsin, they can look forward to endless pain. And in time, they'll forget the reasons behind that pain and only remember who inflicted it, the United States. In order to bring stability to themselves, in order to bring a sense of closure, they'll turn their anger toward this country. I hate to say this, but I really don't blame them. They'll be furious and completely justified in that emotion, I fear, for both sides. Ruben writes from Clifton, New Jersey, the next generation of Iraqis will hate America, will rush to get tourist and student visas, will overstay them forever, and take their revenge courtesy of the usual patsies, you and me. And David in Toronto simply writes, getting even. If you didn't see your email here, you can go to cnn.com/Cafferty file, where you can read more of them online. Wolf, that report of Chris Johns, I'm looking forward to that. It's about time the moderate Muslims wised up to what's being done to their religion. I'm anxious to see what she's found out.
It's going to be a special hour of television this weekend, Saturday and Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, The War Within. We're starting our Special Investigations Unit program. Thanks, Jack, very much for that. Remember, tomorrow we have an exclusive joint interview with the former President Jimmy Carter and the former Vice President Walter Mondale. We'll be talking to them about Iraq, Iran, President Carter's controversial new book. That interview tomorrow. In the meantime, let's go to Lou. He's in Miami. Lou.
Thank you, Wolf. Tonight, the Bush administration and corporate elites in this nation are building a new bureaucracy to create a North American Union comprising the United States, Canada, and Mexico, all the while trying to deny it, trying to create that North American Union without any constitutional authority or the approval of Congress or the American people. We'll have that report. And as the United States struggles to defeat insurgents in Iraq, Communist China is sharply escalating its military challenge to U.S. global superiority. Beijing has now successfully tested a missile that can destroy vital U.S. satellites. We'll have a special report, a great deal more, all the day's news straight ahead here tonight.
This is a special edition of Lou Dobbs Tonight. News, debate, and opinion for Thursday, January 18th. Live from Miami, Lou Dobbs.
Good evening, everybody. Communist China tonight has developed a new weapon system to destroy critically important U.S. military satellites. This is one of the most dangerous Chinese challenges to U.S. global military superiority ever. As Beijing escalates its military buildup, the Bush administration is facing new opposition to its conduct of the war in Iraq. The Iraqi Prime Minister, Nouri al-Maliki, today blasted President Bush and Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice for criticizing his government. Jamie McIntyre reports tonight from the Pentagon on Communist China's rising military threat. Suzanne Malveaux reports from the White House on the rising stress in U.S. relations with Iraq. And Dana Bash reports from Capitol Hill on the growing Republican revolt in Congress. We turn first to Jamie McIntyre at the Pentagon. Jamie?
Well, Lou, it's a clear shot across the bow from China for the United States. In shooting down one of its own satellites, China has demonstrated that it feels no constraint against developing space weapons. Low Earth orbit satellites have become indispensable for the U.S. military for communications, for GPS navigation to guide smart bombs and troops, and for real-time surveillance. But they are also extremely vulnerable, as a just-revealed test of a satellite-killing weapon by China ominously demonstrates.
If we, for instance, got into a conflict over Taiwan, one of the first things they'd probably do would be to shoot down all of our low Earth orbit spy satellites, putting out our eyes.
According to U.S. government officials, after 3 misses, China last Thursday succeeded in shooting down one of its own aging weather satellites with a medium-range ballistic missile fired from the ground. U.S. sensors tracked the satellite as it disappeared from its polar orbit 537 miles above the Earth and was reduced to hundreds of pieces of space debris after impact with a kill vehicle carried by the missile. The U.S. has lodged a formal diplomatic protest.
Was this a provocative move by China? What's the White
House?
Don't
know that, but we are concerned about it, and we've made it known.
Under a new space policy authorized by President Bush last August, the U.S. asserts a right to freedom of action in space and vows to deny, if necessary, adversaries the use of space capabilities hostile to U.S. national interests. Experts say the concern is not as much about Chinese capabilities as their long-term intentions.
The thing that is surprising and disturbing is that they have chosen this moment to demonstrate a military capability that could only be aimed at the United States.
Now, Washington has sent a strongly worded démarche to Beijing, calling the test inconsistent with the spirit of cooperation in the civil space area. But, Lou, the fact of the matter is, even if China goes no farther in testing, it's already demonstrated it can shoot down a satellite if it wants to. Lou?
Well, forgive me, Jamie, that seems to me to be an inordinately and pathetically weak response on the part of the United States, for some reason assuming that China would, its government would respond and say they would not proceed. What is the United States itself doing, our government, to deal with this direct challenge?
Well, you know, you could see, Lou, that in the U.S. space policy there are fighting words about preventing other countries from having the capability of threatening U.S. satellites. But the fact of the matter is, China is a big enough military power that the U.S. can't simply, launch a military action. So they are reduced to diplomatic initiatives, to protests, to trying to unite world opinion and putting pressure on China. And as you can see, China seems pretty impervious to that pressure.
Right. Has almost every other nation on the face of this earth over the course of the past decade. Thank you very much, Jamie McIntyre, reporting from the Pentagon. Communist China's defense spending is rising faster than any other major country in the world. Much of that spending is to modernize the Chinese Navy and the Chinese Air Force. China this month introduced a new generation of fighter jets that demonstrate Beijing's ability to build highly sophisticated weapons. The J-10 fighter, as you see there, is powered by Chinese-manufactured engines and carries Chinese-made precision-guided missiles. As Communist China accelerates its dangerous military buildup, the United States remains focused on the war in Iraq. The Iraqi Prime Minister, Nouri al-Maliki, today strongly criticized President Bush's policy in that war. Al-Maliki said Iraq needs more weapons, not more advice from the Bush administration. Suzanne Malveaux reports from the White House.
It was his first interview since President Bush laid out his new strategy to bring calm to Iraq, and it was biting. Iraq's Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, the man Mr. Bush is counting on to take the lead in turning things around, turned the tables, blaming the Bush administration for not providing enough weapons for the Iraqi troops to secure the country.
I believe that our armed forces could be in much better position than it is now, and if that had happened, it would have spared us and people with other foreign forces a lot of losses.
President Bush brushed off Maliki's criticism, focusing instead on his new pledge to Maliki to send more American troops to help secure Baghdad.
We may not be providing as quickly as he wants, but nevertheless it's a good sign when the Prime Minister says, just give us the capabilities. And that's precisely what my new strategy and new plan is attempting to do.
But his strategy also requires Maliki to step up his military and political responsibilities. And administration officials have been warning him America's patience is wearing thin. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice said the Iraqi government was on borrowed time. Maliki borrowed a familiar phrase from the Bush administration, suggesting the criticism would only embolden the terrorists. Said, I believe such statements give a morale boost to the terrorists and push them toward making an extra effort, making them believe they have defeated the American administration. But I can tell you they haven't defeated the Iraqi government. White House aides downplayed Maliki's comments, characterizing it as a sign of his independence, meant to show strength to the Iraqi people.
You have comments to reporters, and you also have actions on the ground, and those are actions that we support, and those that demonstrate real seriousness on the part of the Maliki government.
Now, Lou, aides say that they believe all this tough talk from Maliki is really for domestic consumption for the Iraqi audience. They say that the president is heartened by some of the actions, recent actions by Maliki's government, including sending 2 brigades into Baghdad, increasing militia detainees, as well as making progress on this oil deal. Lou?
Suzanne, thank you very much. Suzanne Malveaux from the White House. The Republican rebellion against President Bush's new Iraq policy is widening tonight. A group of Republican senators is working on a new resolution to oppose any troop increase in Iraq. This comes one day after Senator Chuck Hagel formed an alliance with Democrats to fight that troop increase. Dana Bash has the latest for us from Capitol Hill.
A group of senators in the president's own party are so opposed to his strategy in Iraq, they're trying to come up with their own resolution, making that clear with a Senate vote.
Individual ones of us have had the opportunity to tell the president personally what we think, but that doesn't have the magnitude, the impact of the entire Senate going on record.
Republican Susan Collins and several other GOP senators who disagree with the president say a resolution offered Wednesday by Republican Chuck Hagel and Democratic leaders is too broad, and terms like escalate make it too controversial.
Bottom line is I'm not signing on to the Hagel piece. We're looking at some other alternatives.
The fact that Minnesota's Norm Coleman and other Republicans who had supported the president on the war are searching for ways to show they now disagree with him is the latest sign of Mr. Bush's increasing isolation, especially since the White House has been meeting with GOP lawmakers trying to stop a revolt.
I think the president is hearing our concerns, but unfortunately, he's not heeding our concerns.
With prodding by Bush officials, GOP leaders who still back the president may propose resolutions of support. They're hoping to get help from Democrat-turned-independent Joe Lieberman.
You know, I support the president's proposals because I believe we have so much on the line in Iraq. I think those who oppose the president's ideas have an obligation, responsibility to propose an alternative course that offers the hope of success.
Now, the first forum for this Iraq debate to play out will be next Wednesday, the day after the State of the Union address, in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, where opponents of the president's plan on Iraq will try to pass a bipartisan, non-binding resolution that they hope to send to the full Senate for a vote in the next couple of weeks. Lou?
Is there at work anywhere on Capitol Hill, Dana, an effort by either Democrats or Republicans to put forward an active strategy and new direction in Iraq, rather than saying what should not occur? Is any element of this dissent voicing a specific affirmative policy on the conduct of the war in Iraq or its conclusion?
The answer is yes, but the answer is there are a lot of different ideas. You know, the Democrats say that they have finally come together on an idea that they've been pushing for quite some time now, that troops should start coming out in 4 to 6 months, and they say that will force the Iraqi government to stand up for themselves. Then you have Republicans like Susan Collins who say, you know, no more troops in Iraq, but I wish it's there, and what I think you should do is move troops to Anbar province. There are a lot of other different ideas, and that is part of the problem, is that there is a lot of opposition to the president's plan, but in terms of what to do about it, nowhere near a consensus on it.
Dana, thank you very much. Dana Bash from Capitol Hill. Another of our troops has been killed in Iraq. The military is saying that a sailor assigned to a military police brigade died in a non-combat related incident. 23 of our troops have been killed in Iraq so far this month, 3,027 of our troops since the war began. 22,951 of our troops wounded, 10,218 of them so seriously they could not return to duty within 3 days. At least 24 Iraqis were killed today in attacks across Baghdad. 10 of the Iraqis were killed in a car bomb attack at a market in the southern part of the Iraqi capital. And today, 3 retired generals strongly criticized the Bush administration's plans to increase the number of troops in Iraq. In testimony to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, one of those former commanders, General Joseph Hoare, said the plan is, quote, too little, too late. Joining me now is General David Grange, one of the country's most distinguished military leaders. General Grange, let me just ask you, do you agree with General Hoare? This is a discussion about too little and too late.
Well, I do agree that it is too late. I do agree that it is less numbers of troops than we actually need. But I don't think it's when the word too late is accurate. It is late. I think that something can be done to try to reverse the situation, and there's not too many choices out there but to do what we're trying to do right now.
Is it your opinion that we are involved in a strategy here, as the president talks about reinforcements? Are we involved in, he talked about the gradual failure of his policies and the conduct of this war over the past year. Are we simply forestalling a conclusion that is one of withdrawal over the course of the next year?
Well, I think, you know, withdrawal is inevitable. I mean, it's going to happen, I think, within the next 2 years for sure. But here's the issue. Do you have what's the recognized government, for an example, in Baghdad? Is it the elected government or is it militia leadership? And if you take the fact that it's a militia leadership and don't do anything about it, then we might as well just leave, because you have a state within a state. So if we're not going to have a state within a state, we're going to do something about the unauthorized military units, then something must be done.
And that's something that must be done. Many are urging that it be done by the Iraqis themselves. One of the issues now, 2 of the 3 battalions in the Iraqi government being sent in to Baghdad to fight the insurgents are from Kurdistan. They don't even speak Arabic. Is there any reason in the world to believe that those battalions would even be loyal to the al-Maliki government?
Well, either the American GIs don't speak Arabic either. I think actually it's a good choice. One, I think they'll take orders from the Iraqi government and the U.S. better than some of the Iraqi army or police that are in cahoots with the militia. So I think they are more loyal and they're very good fighters.
And at what point do you think it would be realistic to expect U.S. troops to leave Iraq?
I think it would be fair to say if you go ahead and support this effort for 4 to 6 months, in other words, once this reinforcement gets on the ground, give them a chance to succeed. I mean, you could pour all kinds of weapons in the Iraqi army, but if they're not ready to use them, it doesn't do any good. And give them a chance to get where they can take over that job, then we've given them a last, final chance to succeed.
A date certain, 6 months from beginning of February, when the first troops of reinforcement are to arrive in Iraq. General Grange, thank you very much. Appreciate it. General David Grange.
My pleasure.
Still ahead here, the White House and federal prosecutors are refusing to give justice to 2 former patrol agents, Border Patrol agents sent to prison for shooting a Mexican drug smuggler, given immunity by the U.S. Justice Department to testify against those agents. We'll have that special report and White House reaction. And corporate elites, special interests threatening middle-class Americans' access to affordable health care. We'll tell you how. We'll tell you why in our next report. And we'll be talking about the war on the middle class here in Florida. I'll be talking with Governor Charlie Crist. The chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee joins us as well, Senator Jay Rockefeller, to discuss the president's conduct of this war on Iraq and many other issues. Stay with us as we continue reporting live from Miami, Florida.
She turned around and left the cave, and I'm standing there by the pool of water alone, and it just brought up a whole bunch of issues that
tym piórze nie ma atramentu.
What?
I wtedy możemy zacząć dopiero pracować.
Using a broker you can't understand doesn't make much sense either. That's why Edward Jones speaks in the language you can understand. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Ranked highest in investor satisfaction with full-service brokerage firms by J.D. Power and Associates.
My name is Greg Moore. I'm 42 years old, and I take OsteoBiflex twice a day.
OsteoBiflex, the #1 doctor-recommended joint care brand.
My doctor recommended I take OsteoBiflex, and it's great. I'm an active guy. I play basketball once a week. I play softball, and I run around with the kids.
The glucosamine and chondroitin, as found in OsteoBiflex, actually lubricates and cushions your joints.
I would highly recommend OsteoBiflex to anyone. It's done a great job for me.
For a $3 off coupon and more information on OsteoBiflex, go to osteobiflex.com right now.
What do you know about computers?
My daughter definitely knows how to use a computer better than I do half the time, and she's 3.5.
Hi, I'm John Scherer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. I've been hearing comments like that for over 18 years now. Listen to this.
I did the Excel, and it was a lot of fun. I had a real good time. I learned a lot.
The difference, just 1 hour with one of my CDs, and they're easy to use. The CD plays like a video on your computer screen. Just follow the step-by-step instructions. And if you call right now, I'll send you any lesson of your choice free. The reason I can do this is because I know that once you try my product, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. If you can't learn for any reason, I'll not only refund your shipping and processing, but I'll send you $10. So learn a new skill in less than an hour. Try my product.
I think that's the most fun I've had learning something about the computer.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-701-3063.
Tonight on 360, he's a frequent flyer and driver. He's also 9 years old. The kid who boosted a car, got through airport security, hopped one flight, then another. It's enough to keep a mom up at nights. We'll talk to her. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Supporters of former Border Patrol agents Ignacio Ramos and Jose Campion are continuing their efforts to free those men from prison. The former agents began serving 11 and 12-year sentences yesterday for shooting and wounding an illegal alien, Mexican drug smuggler, given immunity by the U.S. Justice Department to prosecute those agents. The government is defending its actions against Jose Campion and Ignacio Ramos. Casey Wyan has our report.
Former Texas Border Patrol agents Jose Campion and Ignacio Ramos have been behind bars for 1 day, leaving about 4,000 days left on their sentences for shooting a Mexican drug smuggler nearly 2 years ago. Family members, dozens of federal lawmakers, and more than 250,000 supporters blame the Bush administration for siding with the drug smuggler, not the agents.
Gościem
why the government has betrayed him like this after so many years of service with the U.S. Border Patrol. Over 100 drug busts, never hurt anyone, never hurt anybody, never shot anyone, never, clean record.
Shame on you, Mr. President, for allowing these two brave heroes to go to jail and permitting the drug dealers and the terrorists an open border to the United States.
U.S. Attorney Johnny Sutton defends his office's prosecution of the agents and grant of immunity to the drug smuggler, citing testimony he was unarmed, posed no threat, and was running away when he was shot. However, Agent Ramos says he testified that the drug smuggler was turning and pointing at the agents as if he had a gun.
He went like this.
And that medical evidence of the smuggler's wound supports that. Both agents say their only regret is not properly reporting the shooting.
Now, there might have been a mistake made here, but not to the magnitude of almost the viciousness of enforcement on these two agents.
The White House apparently refuses to recognize multiple inconsistencies in the case, even while lawmakers demand a presidential pardon.
The president has heard the concerns. One of the things that we think is important is that the lawmakers, as they look at the case, need to look at the facts of the case.
If people knew all of the facts in the case, they would be even more furious than they are now. The facts proved that these agents were simply doing their jobs, defending themselves against an armed drug smuggler, and yet the U.S. government turns on them with all of its might and resources and prosecutes them, giving the drug dealer a free pass.
Bonner says Border Patrol union members in Texas were warned they would be terminated if they called in sick in support of their incarcerated former colleagues. The appeals process will now move ahead, but not until the court certifies transcripts of the agent's trial. That is expected to happen within the next few weeks. And tonight, Lou, President Bush told a local television station in Texas that he would review the case, and he also did not rule out the possibility of a presidential pardon. Lou?
Well, in this case, Casey, you have saved the best for last. This is the first acknowledgement by the president of the entreaty of 55 U.S. congressmen, members of his own party, and the actions that are highly questionable on the part of the U.S. Justice Department from their investigation through their prosecution.
Tony Snow was asked about those 55 congressmen today. The president not asked about it directly as far as we know, but Tony Snow did not indicate that the president would be willing to sit down and meet with those congressmen as they've asked. But as you mentioned, Lou, this is the first time the president has acknowledged this case, and he says he will review it.
And I frankly cannot recall a time in which a president has been absolutely charged with betraying those agents or any federal employee by this many members of his own party. This is a remarkable historical moment, and one hopes that the White House recognizes it for what it is. Casey, thank you very much. Casey Wyatt. Okay. Congressman Duncan Hunter today introduced legislation to pardon those two former agents. Congressman Hunter said it is irresponsible to punish them with jail time. This conviction demoralizes our nation's Border Patrol and sends a clear message that we are not serious about protecting our borders and enforcing our immigration laws. Congressman Hunter is considering a run for the presidency, also asking the Federal Bureau of Prisons to take steps immediately to protect Campion and Ramos while they are in prison. There is concern they may face reprisals from drug smugglers and other felons that they may have apprehended over their years of service to the nation in protecting our border. That brings us to our poll question tonight. The question is, do you believe the U.S. government's prosecution of these two former Border Patrol agents, based on the immunity given to an illegal alien drugs dealer, is consistent with this administration's support of open borders and amnesty for illegal aliens? Yes or no? Please cast your vote at BlueDobbs.com. We'll have the results here later in the broadcast. Up next, healthcare costs continue to erode the income of middle-class Americans. New proposals could mean that working people will have to pay even more. We'll have that report. And a partnership between the United States, Mexico, and Canada, supported by big business, is moving ahead without the approval of voters or Congress, and certainly without constitutional authority. We'll have that special report. And Senator Jay Rockefeller, the new chairman of the Senate Select Intelligence Committee, joins us here tonight. We'll be discussing the war in Iraq, domestic spying, and more. Stay with us.
Significant project.
Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. They took office 30 years ago. Now, in an exclusive joint interview, former President Jimmy Carter and former Vice President Walter Mondale are back together, discussing the hot-button issues of Iraq, Iran, and President Carter's controversial new book. A special Situation Room tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Young Muslims living in democracies using free speech to spread hate. Christian Amanpour uncovers The War Within, Saturday and Sunday night, 8 Eastern.
As a Fisher Investments client, you'll always have the opportunity to understand where your investments are, what they're doing, and more importantly, the reasons why. The way we see it, the more you know, the more you'll rest assured, and the quicker you can get back to what matters most, your life. Fisher Investments. Invest assured. For a free copy of the 8 biggest mistakes investors make, call 1-888-48-FISHER or visit fisheroffer.com.
At UFC 67, it will be all or nothing when 2 of the most dangerous fighters in the world make their long-awaited UFC debuts. Quentin Rampage Jackson and international superstar Mirko Krokop. Then new UFC middleweight champion Anderson the Spider Silva brings his devastating strikes to the octagon against the Ultimate Fighter winner Travis Lutter.
Man, that was impressive.
The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 67, All or Nothing. Live Saturday, February 3rd from the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas. Only on pay-per-view.
Don't wait an hour for morning news. 6 a.m. CNN American Morning tomorrow.
If you're a man over 50, it's time to take the Avodart quiz. Are you always going? Do you have trouble going? Are you going at night? Maybe you think you have a going problem. But what if it's a growing problem? What if it's not your bladder, but instead you have an enlarging prostate? 50% of men over 50 do, and you may be able to do something about that going and growing with Avodart. Most medicines only treat symptoms. Avodart, with time, actually shrinks the prostate and improves urinary symptoms. Only your doctor can tell if your symptoms are from an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition, such as prostate cancer. So have regular prostate exams. Avodart is for men only. Women should not take or handle Avodart due to the risk of a specific birth defect. Tell your doctor if you have liver disease. Rarely, sexual side effects, tenderness, or swelling of the breast can occur. Have you called your doctor? Avodart, for your growing problem.
Larry King Tonight. Former American Idol winners together. Taylor Hicks and Fantasia Barrino. Who do they think the new American Idol will be? Larry King Live, tonight 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
The Bush administration is pushing and pushing hard. A partnership between the United States and Mexico and Canada with a goal of what it calls integration by 2010. This partnership among 3 nations is being discussed at the highest levels of the 3 governments at the urging of the largest multinational corporations. But it is barreling ahead with absolutely no congressional oversight, no voter approval, out of sight completely of the American people, and as far as we can determine, without any constitutional authority whatsoever. Christine Romans reports.
Congressman Virgil Goode wants to stop the Security and Prosperity Partnership.
It will lead to a union between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and it will greatly harm the sovereignty of the United States. It is part of the open borders philosophy to do away with borders, and I vigorously oppose it.
Launched in 2005, it's a dramatic government and business effort to, quote, harmonize regulations. The president promised no matter who the players are in Washington, Mexico City, and Ottawa, this bureaucracy is meant to endure.
I appreciate the commitment of the Prime Minister and the President toward a spirit of partnership to outlast whatever politics may occur.
To critics, outlasting politics means skirting Congress and the will of the American people in secrecy. It took a Freedom of Information request to find out what happened in Banff last fall. Closed to the press, the North American Forum was attended by the highest levels of business and government. The conservative group Judicial Watch found
this is a forum where the push is for taxes, the push is for open borders, the push is for investment funds for Mexico. So all the talk is on one side of the equation.
Among the notes the Pentagon released of the meeting, a goal of integration and, quote, open borders for industry and investment. North America needs to be more competitive, and yet security goals seem to interfere with this outcome. And the admission most people are not compelled by North American integration need to identify steps that demonstrate the concept and success. Numerous documents advocate open borders between and a secure perimeter around the three countries, taking what's called a continental vision. It is a vision Congressman Good does not share. He will introduce this week a resolution opposing the Security and Prosperity Partnership. Lou?
And some mindless and uninformed people are suggesting that this is not even occurring. I saw a number of articles suggesting, well, this North American Union just isn't happening. It's a fiction, as some wild conspiracy theory. Yet it is absolutely documented. This administration continues to deny what is happening right in front of us, although it is happening with stealth and with secrecy. It's happening.
The administration has a website called spp.gov. It says it outlines myths and realities. People can check it out for themselves, but there are a lot of questions about this, Lou.
And you can check out our website, too, which is about truth. We'll let the administration have its own view of that truth. Unfortunately, it seems to be one that they don't want to share with a lot of Americans for some reason. This is a very important story.
They will
Christine,
not come on camera to talk about it, but they will refer us to a website, but they won't come on camera to talk about
absolutely. How odd and out of character. Christine, thanks. Christine Romans. One of the biggest issues facing the new Congress is the future direction of the war in Iraq. Indeed, the biggest, arguably the biggest issue facing the United States. Democrats are determined to challenge the president's decision to send 21,500 more of our troops to Iraq. Some of those Democrats are threatening to cut off funding for the war. Others are demanding resolutions and taking other avenues. But opposition is clear. And joining me now, one of the Senate's most influential Democrats. He is the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Jay Rockefeller. Senator, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Lou.
Senator, let's start with Senators Levin, Biden, Senator Hagel, a Republican, talking about moving forward with a non-binding resolution opposing those reinforcements. Will you be co-sponsoring the resolution? Will you support it?
Absolutely. And I think those who say that that's just a symbolic, non-binding resolution really have it wrong, because I think it's going to be a bipartisan rejection, not of the president per se, but of a policy which has never made any sense, which has never been thought through, and which never understood what they were getting into.
Do you also support, as Senator Hillary Clinton has suggested, putting a cap on the number of troops in Iraq?
Not sure yet. I mean, I think we may come to that depending upon what happens. The president has indicated, as you know, that he isn't going to listen to anything that Congress says. That's not the first time that's happened, and we tend to believe that. So if we're going to make our point, we're probably going to have to move on to something stronger. I mean, our basic problem in Iraq, I think, Lou, and I think we broke it, and they have to fix it, and that's what the acceleration of troops is all about. I mean, you can't fix it militarily. That's pretty much gone, in spite of our soldiers being incredibly brave, and so many of them dying and getting just grievously injured. But now it's the Sunnis versus the Shiites. Are they willing, without the promise of us being there to look over their shoulder all the time militarily, are they willing to look at each other and say, hey, we can put this country back together again? That's the only hope, and I hope that they come to a positive conclusion, but I'm skeptical. I don't think it's a very happy situation.
Not a happy situation for anyone in this country, for the people of Iraq. Are you hopeful? General Dave Grange said that he believes that this increase should go ahead. He's in obvious disagreement with you and a number of other generals. Should go ahead, and within 4 to 6 months, a best effort, and at that point, withdraw U.S. troops from Iraq if there is a lack of, if there is no success. Either way, give them 4 to 6 months to at least succeed where they have failed over the course of the past year or so. You reject that out of hand?
No, I don't reject that out of hand. In fact, I sort of agree with that. And the 4 to 6 months depends when you start. But let's say you started in 2 to 3 months, and you said to the Iraqi government, which I don't think is committed to doing this. Remember, Maliki came out and was against the increase in troops, and now he's for it, and I'm sort of wondering what happened in between. But I do think that you have to be very tough with them, and I don't think there's a military solution. I do think you have to make them confront their own reality of 1,500 years, and that is, can Sunnis and Shias in that country live together in something called Iraq? And if they can't, why are we there? When the real war on terrorism started in Afghanistan, and we're not doing very well there.
Senator, let's turn to domestic surveillance or warrantless wiretapping. Attorney General Gonzalez was questioned today by members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, as you know, about the administration's about face, if you will, in turning to FISA for that program. Here's what he said, if we could roll that.
We believe that the court's orders will allow the necessary speed and agility the government needs to protect our nation from a terrorist threat.
Here we go. Senator, you and I have talked about this over the course of the past better than a year. What's your reaction?
My reaction is that's a very broad statement under which they can fit almost anything they want. Now, let's be realistic. What happened? A FISA court judge made a decision that they were tired of having all of these warrantless, unpermitted spying to take place. And so they said it's going to be different. And then the Justice Department kind of took credit for it. And he comes before the Judiciary Committee and said, well, we've got certain problems. Well, to be honest with you, there are a lot of problems still with the Warrantless Surveillance Act, wiretaps, whatever you want to call it. And that's exactly what the Judiciary Committee and the Intelligence Committee are for, to make sure that there are no loopholes, that every single person who is listened to in their conversation, that there is a warrant for that. Not some kind of a blanket thing thrown out over 10,000 people, but every single person. If not, Lou, we haven't improved that much. And that gets to the core of what America is as a country.
And you will be focusing the efforts of the Intelligence Committee in assuring that?
Oh, very much focused. I mean, Dianne Feinstein, myself, Carl Levin, there's just a slew of us who are just, and on the Republican side equally, that we're absolutely determined to make sure that we solve this problem once and forever. Civil liberties can be made into a kind of a liberal thing. On the other hand, if you think about it in a sober fashion, civil liberties are kind of why America is different from the rest of the world. And we have to fight to protect those and to make sure that the government doesn't overreach. The Bush administration...
I think most of us...
Excuse me, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Senator, I think most of us look upon those civil liberties as kind of an American thing.
Yeah.
Senator, we thank you very much for being with us here. Senator Jay Rockefeller, the chairman of the Senate Select Intelligence Committee. Thank you, Senator. Coming up next, Democratic Congressman and presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich joins us. We'll be talking about the national media. Does it need reform? Is there a role for the fairness doctrine? Healthcare costs continuing to erode the well-being and quality of life for middle-class Americans. There are new proposals that will add to the threat. We'll have that report, and Florida's Governor Charlie Crist joins me to discuss his plan to protect homeowners from dramatic insurance increases. Stay with us.
Call today for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card from American Express and start earning double miles in more places more often. Apply now and get up to 17,500 bonus miles. With award tickets starting at just 25,000 miles, you can fly free sooner. Plus, the card is fee-free the first year. Call 1-800-SKY-MILES. Call now for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card and earn 2 miles for every eligible dollar you spend for even faster travel awards on Delta and over 17 airline partners. Take advantage of this great offer today and get 17,500 miles closer to a free trip. Plus, enjoy the card fee-free the first year. Apply online or call 1-800-SKY-MILES now.
Grow your money toward your dreams at 5.05% APY. Visit hsbcdirect.com.
Here's a cool way to test your online trading strategies. Send them back in time. Sending yourself back in time? Clearly not as cool. Fidelity's got tools like Wealth Lab Pro that let you test before you trade. What's your online broker got? Fidelity. Smart move.
Tuesday, CNN Pipeline is free. You're in control with up to 4 live feeds all day. From the Academy Award nominations in the morning through the State of the Union in primetime. Tuesday, go to CNN.com and try Pipeline free. Sponsored by Cisco.
This is a special edition of Lou Dobbs Tonight. News, debate, and opinion. Live from Miami, here again, Lou Dobbs.
The Democratic majority in the House of Representatives tonight has finished its 100-hour legislative agenda, passing an oil revenue bill. That bill ends $15 billion of subsidies and tax deductions for major oil companies. The House completed work on 6 major pieces of legislation in just about 42 hours of floor time. That's less than half the limit that the Democratic leadership had set. Now, of course, all of that legislation has to move through the Senate and ultimately to the president for his signature. Other legislation passed includes an increase in the federal minimum wage, the first in more than a decade, stem cell research, lower prescription drug prices, interest rate cuts for student loans. One of the most critical issues facing this country is diminishing access to health care. As insurance rates skyrocket, costs are shifting to hard-working Americans. It could worsen. Under some new proposals, individuals could be asked to pay even more. Katie Pilgrim reports from New York.
That doctor bill is increasingly a personal responsibility. Over the last 6 years, health insurance rates rose 6 times faster than personal income. And the boss is shifting more of those costs onto the employees, who are faced with higher premiums, higher deductibles, and co-payments.
In 2005, we found a significant drop in the number of employers that provide full coverage for personal health care. It went from 25%, which isn't a large number anyway, down to 10%, so a very big drop.
An estimated 47 million people are without health coverage at all. Some in Congress favor a system in which the employer doesn't pay, the individual does, choosing their own coverage, just like car insurance.
There'd be less cost shifting, and also we'd save money because people would buy private coverage for outpatient services rather than go to expensive hospital emergency rooms.
Some states have embraced that solution also. Massachusetts requires its state residents to carry health insurance. It also subsidizes it for those who can't afford it. Vermont and Maine plan to enact similar laws. California's new concept of tax-subsidized mandatory coverage continues with employer-based coverage.
What those states are doing is they're frustrated because there hasn't been leadership out of Washington. And so they feel they can't wait any longer because too many of their citizens are being hurt.
Healthcare issues are shaping up to be a big issue for the 2008 campaign.
Last summer, President Bush signed the Health Care Act of 2006. It increased the amounts that people could put into tax-free health savings accounts. That doesn't begin to tackle the problem of rising costs. Many of those plans have very high deductibles, so less than 1% of Americans have opted to sign up for those kinds of plans. Lou?
Kitty, thank you very much. Kitty Pilgrim. Up next here tonight, Florida's Governor Charlie Crist joins me. We'll be talking about the problems of soaring insurance rates for Florida homeowners, rising property taxes. And Democratic Congressman and presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich joins us. We'll be talking about media reform and his candidacy. Stay with us.
This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever you go, nationwide, your coverage travels with you. And that's just one of the many reasons you need the card you can trust. Because with AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance, you get things like a full range of plans, the ability to apply year-round, personal health insurance advisors to help you make the best decision, and so much more. If you're turning 65 or older, or you've already enrolled in a Medicare supplement plan, call now for this free information kit and Medicare guide to help you navigate today's complex health care environment. Learn why these Medicare supplement insurance plans are the choice of millions of Americans and are exclusively endorsed by AARP, an organization that's all about life after 50. AARP Medicare supplement plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, help cover some of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare alone. This could save you thousands of dollars out of your own pocket. Plus, you can choose any doctor or hospital in the U.S. and apply anytime year-round. So call now. Here's what your friends and neighbors are saying about us. What a wonderful service this has been. Thank you for the excellent service provided. I love AARP Healthcare Options. Look, you want to do away with almost all claim forms? Like the sound of no referrals needed to see a specialist? With this card, you get all that too. Finding the right coverage can be really challenging, especially since Medicare supplement insurance is now more important than ever. That's why the legwork's been done for you. So feel great about making a smart, informed decision. And call to get your free information kit and Medicare guide. Then you'll find out more about a full range of plans, personal health insurance advisors, and coverage that travels nationwide. Yep, this is one great card.
Concentration of media ownership, internet neutrality, and oversight of the Federal Communications Commission among the issues the new chairman of the House Domestic Policy Subcommittee plans to take on. That and, of course, running for the presidency. Joining me now is Congressman Dennis Kucinich. Congressman, it is good to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Lou. I appreciate a chance to be on your show.
You have spoken out for the first time. I had not heard the words fairness doctrine in a very long time. But you are compelled to look at that issue and to bring it front and center to the national agenda. Tell us why.
Well, years ago when I was teaching at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio, I talked about the creation of the Federal Communication Commission. When it was first created in 1934, Lou, it said that all broadcast licensees should serve in the public interest, convenience, and necessity. The fairness doctrine derived from the public interest, and that is that there should be an uninhibited marketplace of ideas. That's what the First Amendment is all about. And so what I've asked is for our committee's work to include a revisiting of the fairness doctrine in this year of 2007.
And you plan on holding hearings. As you know, there is a school of thought that the fairness doctrine, which of course hasn't been around now for some 20 years, was stifling and therefore also contravening the First Amendment, free speech. How do you respond to those who would charge that?
Well, there's been some real changes in media in the last 20 years since we've seen the fairness doctrine go. We've seen 50 large media companies suddenly shrink to 6. And so this idea of uninhibited exchange of ideas in the marketplace needs to be looked at in the era of media consolidation. To see, for example, how in the world did we end up in this war in Iraq when one study said that only 3 news sources who opposed the war were able to get on the air out of 393 in a study. What does that say? Was there an uninhibited exchange of ideas? How could we have the trade policies which we have, for example, if there was a free and uninhibited exchange of ideas over NAFTA and GATT and the WTO? I think that this is an opportunity for America to revisit the issue of consolidation in the media, how it relates to whether the media is serving in the public interest, and so my committee is going to have hearings on that.
All right, Congressman, we're just about out of time, but I can't let you leave us without asking you how your campaign for your party's nomination is going. How are you feeling?
Let me say this, Lou, that I'm the only candidate who not only consistently opposed the war, but who voted against funding the war. Today, the debate ought to be ending the occupation, and it ought to be not funding the war to bring our troops home. I put forth a 12-point plan that's intended to do that. You cannot say that you oppose this war and continue to fund it. And so I've been clear on this. I led the effort in the House, and I'm continuing to lead the way as a candidate for president. People want a president who has the clarity of vision and isn't going to commit men and women to put their lives on the line in the name of the United States. if that cause is based on a lie. And I saw immediately that it was the wrong thing to do, and people want a president who has the judgment, the right judgment on these kind of grave matters.
Congressman Dennis Kucinich, thanks for being here.
Thank
we'll be
you.
talking over the course of the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Up next, I'll be talking with Florida's new governor, Governor Charlie Crist. He's pushing a plan to rein in this state's soaring insurance rates, a state that is also bedeviled by soaring property taxes. We'll be talking to him about that and more. Stay with us.
This April, CNN is live in New Hampshire for the first presidential debates of the race to 08. Stay with the best political team on television. Stay with. This month, stay in and tune in to watch what's on Comcast. Everyone needs more space. DIY Network can help you find it with the space you already have. Watch Wasted Space, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on the DIY Network, Comcast Channel 204. Do more with your time and money. Watch I Want That, What You Get for Your Money, and American Shopper. Saturdays and Sundays till noon on Fine Living, Comcast Channel 184. All the shows you watch are on Comcast.
I've been waiting for so long, now I finally found someone to stand by me. We saw the writing on the wall as we felt this magical fantasy. Listen, baby, I've had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you.
Cholesterol. My doctor said to watch it. So I ride my bike, eat the good stuff, and take garlic every day.
Garlic's clinically proven ingredient maintains healthy cholesterol naturally.
The doctor's happy. So am I.
Eat right, exercise, garlic.
Does back pain limit your motion?
Get relief with Icy Hot Pro Therapy. Powered by Hot Packs. Up to 8 hours of muscle-relaxing, pain-relieving heat that goes where you go. Icy Hot Pro Therapy.
Strong support plus powerful relief.
This month, stay in and tune in to watch what's on Comcast. Everyone needs more space. DIY Network can help you find it with the space you already have. Watch Wasted Space, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on the DIY Network, Comcast Channel 204. Do more with your time and money. Watch I Want That, What You Get for Your Money, and American Shopper. Saturdays and Sundays till noon on Fine Living, Comcast Channel 184. All the shows you watch are on Comcast.
Winona Judd and Gary Sinise at the Fisher Houses for Wounded Troops. Larry King tomorrow.
Coming up on CNN at the top of the hour, the Situation Room and Wolf Blitzer. Wolf?
Thanks very much, Lou. The chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Joe Biden, a leading and vocal critic of a troop increase in Iraq and a likely presidential contender. Can Democrats ever agree on how hard to push back against the president? I'll ask him. And Mercury Rising, a very mysterious event in the Los Angeles subway system. Was it a test of our homeland security? Plus, Obama mania as the Illinois senator pushes ahead on his plans to run for the White House. Is America ready for an African-American president? And a deer on thin ice. Check it out. See how this doe gets out of a slippery situation. All that, Lou, coming up in the Situation Room.
Thank you very much, Wolf. Florida's homeowners today are facing huge insurance rate hikes, some as high as 400% after the disastrous hurricane seasons of 2004 and 5. The state is trying to provide relief with initiatives led by Governor Charlie Crist to an emergency session of the state legislature. And Governor Crist, who succeeded President Bush's brother Jeb in that capacity, joins us tonight from Tallahassee. Good of you to take time to talk with us, Governor. Congratulations on your election. A special session of the legislature. Is it producing what you hoped?
It is so far. I'm very optimistic, Lou, and it's very good of you to be in Florida. It's very important to understand that Floridians are suffering from an insurance crisis, I dare say. You're absolutely right about your introduction. The rates have soared to historic highs. It is very crippling on our people. You understand we've had an awful lot of hurricanes over the past few seasons. That has precipitated this. But we also understand that the insurance industry has enjoyed a $60 billion profit, according to some estimates, over the past year. $3 billion of that on the back of Floridians just in this past year as well. We want to do everything we can during this special session this week in Tallahassee to get relief to Floridians all over our state. They need it, they deserve it, and they want it.
As you know, Governor, this broadcast is committed to the interest of middle-class Americans, and what is happening in the state of Florida is emblematic in so many ways of what is happening around the country. But you are unique as a Republican governor, taking on big business in the way in which you are doing. You're going straight after those insurance companies.
Well, we need to. That's the duty, I think, of this office. You know, I really don't care about Republican, Democrat, Independent. What's important is that we do what's right for the people, Lou, and they understand it, and they sent us that message very loud and very clear on November the 7th, that they want us to work together to do what is right, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I got to congratulate the Democratic members of the House, the Democratic members of the Senate are working very hard here in Tallahassee with our Republican colleagues to get this done and get it done as quickly as possible.
Those are nice words for all of us, I think, to hear. I'll speak only for myself. It's nice to hear a Republican governor talking about the Democratic members of his state legislature that way. It's not something that we often hear. It's a hopeful, has a hopeful resonance, and we wish you all the best of luck in it. You also have rising property taxes that are just crushing people here as well. What can be done there?
Well, a lot. We believe we have an exemption already that exists in Florida. The first $25,000 of the value of your home is exempt from taxation. We would like to double that. Our Democratic colleagues want to help us do that too, to $50,000. We also have something else, Lou, in our state that's been very advantageous to property owners. It's a 3% cap on their increase in their property taxes per year. But people lose that when they go to another home. And if you're a young family, you want to get into a larger home, more square footage, you lose that advantage of that cap. We want to make that portable, if you will, to the second home that they may purchase when they want to move. They feel trapped in the home that they're in right now in our state. We want to enjoy an economic boom. We believe that we will. If we can address this insurance issue as well as the property tax issue, they're sort of the twin towers, if you will, of the pocketbook issues that are facing our people.
One quick last question. We're really out of time, Governor. I appreciate your time. But Florida is also taking some interesting and important initiatives in public education. Are you hopeful that you're going to see that those initiatives succeed as well?
Yes, we're very hopeful. I'm a proud product of Florida's public school system and our state university system. And I have 3 sisters that I love dearly. 2 of them have been public school teachers. One of the most important things that we can do is raise teacher salaries and continue to have measurement and accountability in our system. We're committed to it. Our children deserve it. We must continue on that path, and I'm sure we will.
Governor Charlie Crist, we wish you well in all of that, and we thank you and the good people of Florida for the hospitality we've encountered here. We'll impose on that hospitality for another day. Thank you, Governor.
Please do. Thank you, Lou. It's kind of you to be with us.
Gotcha. Still ahead, we're going to have the results of our poll. Stay with us.
Make your cash work harder with a savings account 6 times the national average. Get 5.05% APY on your complete savings account, plus free quick transfers. It's easy. It's extraordinary. It's E-Trade.
If you've had a heart attack or have heart failure, inside this little device, you just might find 10,000 more kisses, snow, 200 more football wins. This is an implantable cardiac defibrillator, a device that's always there for you, close to your heart, with the power to restart it in case of sudden cardiac arrest, one of the nation's leading causes of death. ICDs aren't for everyone. They're proven effective in treating some heart rhythm disorders, but only your doctor can say if it's right for you. ICDs are implanted, and as with any surgery, there are potential risks, and physician follow-up is required. In rare instances, ICDs may not deliver appropriate therapy. An ICD could give you many more bedtime stories, tons of hugs, and one more thing, peace of mind. Call 1-866-950-5550 or visit whatsinside.com. Then talk to your doctor. An ICD is just a little thing, but it can make the biggest difference in your life.
Here's a radically simple suggestion from eLoan. Spend too much money spreading the holiday cheer? Consolidate your debt with a home equity loan and pay one low monthly rate. Just call 1-800-TRY-ELOAN or go to eLoan.com. eLoan. Radically simple.
Travelocity presents The Roaming Gnome, denouncer of travel myths. Our first myth, you never know how long a great deal will last.
Rubbish. Travelocity shows you how many seats are left, so you know when to pounce.
Myth 2, American appliances don't work in Europe.
Oh, grow up. Ah! Am I going to die?
Travelocity shows you when there's only a few seats left, so you don't miss out on a great deal. Travelocity, you'll never roam alone.
Quickly, our poll results. 90% of you said the U.S. government's prosecution of 2 Border Patrol agents is consistent with this administration's support of open borders and amnesty for illegal aliens. Time for one quick email. Carol in Ohio. Had I known that I was voting for a president who continuously holds the rights of Mexicans over the citizens of his own country, I would never have voted for him. I'm beyond disgusted and outraged. Thanks for being with us tonight. Please join us tomorrow. For all of us, thanks for watching. Good night from Miami, Florida. The Situation Room begins now with Wolf Blitzer. Wolf?
Thanks very much, Lou. And to our viewers, you're in the Situation Room where new pictures and information are arriving all the time. Standing by CNN reporters across the United States and around the world to bring you tonight's top stories. Happening now, a Chinese missile knocks out a Chinese satellite in orbit. What will be the next targets of this new satellite killer? Why America's eyes and ears in space may now be